Welcome back to the party, everybody. This is Morty, and I'm your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Everybody hit that like and subscribe. You know I would do it for you, and let's party. Big shout out to the replay gang. Thank you so much for coming back to watch this, even though you missed the live party. Guys, that is the best part, so make sure you're here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes whenever I feel like it. So hit that subscribe, ring the bell, and you will never miss an Indian Jesus live party ever again. If you'd like to support the channel, head on over to TheIndianJesus.com for your very own official merch. It's getting cold. Get yourself a hoodie. TheIndianJesus.com. Guys, we do also have a Discord server. It's like a giant group chat that we are 24/7. We are in there hanging out, having a great time, and it's a great place to meet new people and have interesting conversations. So definitely come and join us. Like I said, it's absolutely free. However, if you are a member of this channel here on YouTube, you can scroll right below the video here, hit that join button. There's a few different tiers here, but it starts at just $2.99 a month. Gets you members only live streams here on YouTube, all that other good stuff. But it also opens up the full Discord server. So there's not just one channel that you get access to. It's the entire thing, including our voice channel where we hold our after party. So as soon as we are done here, we are headed over there for an after party where we don't have to worry about any kind of YouTube censorship, and you are not stuck behind your keyboard. You are actually on screen with me and everybody else. It is a good time. Definitely come and join us. Shout out to Mighty Starlock. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And we got our co-host Morty in the building. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Very good to see you guys. So this one, this show is going to be a little bit different. And we're not really going to be talking specifically about politics, and I'm actually excited about that. We've definitely gotten our fill of politics over the last few months, and everybody's been talking about the same thing. So finally, more different types of conversations are starting to pop up again, and I'm very excited to cover that stuff. And because this channel has always been about, it's not just politics, but about communication and talking with other people, whether you agree with them, disagree with them, love them, or hate them. So shout out to Diary of a CEO podcast from Steven Bartlett that I've seen around, but I've never actually seen before or listened to in full. Recently had on Vanessa Edwards, who is a body language expert, and she is going to talk to us about body cues, body language, facial expressions, all that kind of stuff. And I think it's pretty cool, and I hope you do. So as always, guys, if you cannot hear the video, please do let me know.
Your brain is 12.5 times more likely to believe my gesture over my words. And that's because it is very hard to lie with our gestures. For example, you want to do a little experiment with me?
Sure.
Okay, I want you to say 5, but hold up the number 3.
5.
Hard, right?
Yeah, I had to think about them separately.
This is why liars use less gestures. But knowing tool like that is critical if you're trying to set yourself up for success.
We're going to go through all of them.
Oh, yeah.
Vanessa Van Edwards is a behavioral investigator whose science-backed research from body language and microexpressions to vocal tones and first impressions has revolutionized the way we build confidence and create more authentic relationships in every social and professional interaction.
I'm a recovering awkward person. I thought that charisma was genetic, and I didn't know how to have conversations. I didn't even know how to have friends. And then I discovered that highly successful people speak a hidden language, and that is the language of cues. It's directly from the research. They know the blueprint to talk to anyone. They know that if you sit within 25 feet of a high performer, your own performance improves by 15%. And that there's a direct correlation between confidence and anxiety and the distance between our shoulder and our earlobe.
So interesting.
They also know that 82% of our impressions of people are based on warmth and competence. So if you worry that people don't take you seriously, you have trouble getting raises, you feel anxious and overwhelmed, I have 5 power cues for competence. But if you haven't ever been told you're intimidated, hard to talk to, I want you to use these.
I may have been told that a time or two. Shout out to King Nirvana. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. Good to see ya. Good to see ya. Shout out to the Duke John's cat Xavier. I'm going to assume that this is Dixon or Carl because I see a membership there, but I don't recognize the name. So who are you? Either way, thank you so very, very much. So good evening, Indian Jesus and Morty. And of course, every donation comes with a treat for Morty. All right, well, there's Dixon. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Well, I don't recognize the name too often, but I definitely recognize the picture. So shout out to TSN and very glad to see ya. Skol, skol. All right, guys, let's do this. Hey, we got our boy Nick Luchetti. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Always a pleasure to see you. Moderator numero uno in the building. All right, here we go.
I have 5 power cues for competent. But if you have ever been told you're intimidated, hard to talk to, I want you to use
Word
these.
up. We got a new one. We got a new person with Stuttering John. Shout out to Stuttering John. Shout out to TSN. Skull. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad you are here. Glad you're here. I love gathering more TSN members. Skull to you all.
5 warmth cues. First,
What about how to get a partner in terms of cues and body language?
let's start with a study that blew my mind. It's impossible to be attracted to someone who
That's so crazy. Just such a
that
small.
one little thing.
The ick.
This is always
So this is a, we're gonna skip to this part. There is, yeah, so as you may be able to see here, this is almost 3 hours long. And we are definitely not going to be able to get through the entire thing. But depending on how this goes, we may turn this into a 2-parter. So let's see. I've seen a bunch of clips online. I have not seen all of it. So, you know, not going in blind, but have seen a little bit of it, but not all of it. So let's see what we got, ladies and gentlemen.
Vanessa Van Edwards.
Hmm.
For someone that's just clicked on this conversation now, and they're wondering why they
Yes.
should stay and listen to what we're going to talk about, what would you say to them?
Very highly successful people
The camera's too. Why is there so much headroom? The camera should be. much
speak a
farther
hidden
down.
language.
Sorry, I'm interrupting. What did you say?
Very highly successful people speak a hidden language, and that is the language of cues. If you don't know how to read the cues people are sending to you, if you don't know how to control the cues you're sending to others, you are missing a crucial element of success.
How do you
Agreed.
quantify that in a way that I know that it's true? Are there studies or stats that reinforce what you've just said?
82% of our impressions of people are based on warmth and competence. That means that if we can control our warmth cues and our competence cues, we know we are taking care of 82% of our impression. And that is critical to being more memorable, to being more confident, to having clear communication.
And to taking that a bit further, what areas of my life will that impact? So if I'm warm and I'm competent, which you're telling me are things that I can control, what are the downstream consequences of that?
I would assume, you know, again, as they put in the title, making friends, having better relationships, being able to be more competent in a work environment. I think we do have a running poll right now that asks, "Do you trust body language experts?" And so far, 2/3 of you were saying no. I'm wondering. We're gonna do that again later. And based on what Vanessa here is saying, let's see if she can change some minds.
So I think my mission is to tackle a big lie. And that is that smart people will translate their book smarts into people smarts. But actually, no matter how smart you are, if you do not know how to communicate with people, you can't connect with people, you can't have good relationships, you can't have supportive friendships, you get looped into difficult people or toxic people, you have trouble getting raises or promotions. When you are able to control your communication, it helps you not be overlooked, not be misunderstood. And that affects your friendships, your partner, your career, and also helps you feel more confident walking into a room.
And what is your
Shout out to Lunchcast. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. Good to see you, brother.
Partner, your career, and also helps you feel more confident walking into a room.
and what is your research based on? Are you a researcher? Have
See, this is the kind of headspace you're supposed to be using.
you done sort of first party research yourself? Where were you drawing from?
So I'm a recovering awkward person. So I used to believe that you were either born with charisma or you weren't, that charisma was genetic.
Yeah, Christmas coming up next week, right? Get you shot
And
and
in
done.
2002, I discovered a study that changed my life, which said that charisma can be learned. This is when I started to figure out, okay, if charisma can be learned, how do we learn it? How can we learn blueprints for conversation? How can we learn frameworks for how we connect and how we socialize? That's when I started doing my own research. So I'm a behavioral researcher and a best-selling author on communication. And I specialize in helping very brilliant, very smart, awkward folks not be overlooked.
And give me some sort of depth as to the amount of research and the quantity of research that you've done, how many people you've studied, how many hours of footage, etc.
Yep. So I developed my first framework about 12 years ago, and we've helped 400,000 students learn that framework, master it, and conquer awkwardness or feel more confident. Some of those folks had very professional goals, like getting a raise or promotion. Other folks were so socially anxious and so awkward they couldn't make friends. Other people were looking for their soulmate or their partner. And
I was just going to ask, put a 1 in the chat if you think you are an awkward folk. King
so
is there.
400,000 students have told me that this framework works.
Nobody teaches us this stuff, do they?
Or actually, extroverts tend to teach it. So I read the quintessential How to Win Friends and Influence People back in the day. And that's a
Everybody should read How to Win Friends and Influence People.
wonderful book, but it's a book written by an extrovert. If you are not naturally extroverted, I am not naturally extroverted, I'm more ambiverted.
Me neither. Hey, shout out to Plungecast. Thank you. It said, feed Morty. Indeed, sir, I will. Indeed. And that's the first of our Swole Goal Super Chats. Make sure you check out the goal there. Get me on the floor. Thank you so very, very much. Of course, that makes you the new sponsor of the stream. Thank you very, very much. Plungecast.
Book written by an extrovert. If you are not naturally extroverted, I am not naturally extroverted, I'm more ambiverted. It is very hard to learn how to communicate if you don't naturally gravitate towards people.
Put it in the chat if you do not know what ambivert means, as opposed to like introvert or extrovert.
I was like, there has to be a way to teach introverts and ambiverts to be able to feel confident without having to fake it till you make it, without having to pretend to be extroverted or outgoing to be taken seriously.
So an ambivert is essentially kind of, give me 1 second here, essentially kind of an in-between. Let's get this up. Shout out to Plungecast one more time. So yeah, an ambivert is kind of a mix of both. So I would consider myself an ambivert because I get very emotionally drained by interacting with people, but I also will get my energy from interacting with other people. And so, like, you probably wouldn't think of me as introverted at all because I'm putting my face on the internet and all that stuff. But in real life, I'm pretty quiet unless you, unless I'm around, people that I'm really comfortable with or whatever. Then I tend to withdraw unless I feel the desire to be more extroverted in the moment, which I can do. And isn't necessarily a bad thing, but again, it zaps my energy. So that's kind of the tweener. Some people also use the phraseology of like an introverted extrovert or extroverted introvert. And so it basically just kind of, it depends on the situation, it depends on the time, and the circumstances. That's an ambivert.
Without having to fake it till you make it.
Let's get an actual definition.
Without having to pretend to be extroverted or outgoing to be taken seriously or to be charismatic.
What's an ambivert?
So ambiverts get energy from the right people in the right places. So for example, in this interview, I love one-on-one conversations. I feel myself. But if we were to go to a loud bar or a nightclub, I would completely shut down and want to be alone. Ambiverts can dial up extroversion to hit their goals. So if they know they have to be friendly and meet people for an interview or a position, they can do it.
So that exactly what we're saying. Like, I don't really have much interest in going out to the bar and partying and doing this and that. But if we gonna do it, we gonna do it.
But they need lots of recharge time. The reason why it's important to know if you're an ambivert is because you should know what are the people and places that drain you. There are certain people, when you open your calendar and you look at it and you're like,
oh, come on.
That is someone that drains you. They do not bring out your extroversion or your natural love of people.
And this was a really good dynamic between Akon and I. If you're not familiar, my best friend died in 2013, and he had the nickname Akon before the rapper. And it was always he was the extrovert, and so he would always be the one. Like, we would go to the bar together, and it was always the line that he was the opener, I was the closer. Because, like, I'm not really trying to walk up to somebody. And again, I will and I can. But if he's there, he's much better at it. He has much more fun doing it. So he'll go in and open up. And then when I get more comfortable, then it's not so much of a thing. And that's why I can close it down. You know what I mean? So I can see that. Somewhat similar in that. Just too shy to try to do what you do. Yeah, I mean, it takes a lot. And there was a moment in college when, or actually right before college, was at orientation for college, when there was just something that switched in me. And it was a conscious thing, but I again was that very yeah, right. And agnostic atheist, introverted extrovert. I'm complicated. But yeah, we were at the orientation for college, and I'd always been that shy kid in high school. I didn't, I had friends, but again, I was always the quieter one. I was always the follower, all that kind of stuff. And I just decided that, all right, this is a new chapter. So I'm just going to start doing what I do now and doing what I want to do and being who I want to be. And if people don't like that, Too bad for them. So that's really where all of that started. Before that, I was just very unhappy because I was always trying to please other people. And I don't know if you know this, but that trying to please people is not a good way to please people.
That is someone that drains you. They do not bring out your extroversion or your natural love of people. There are also certain people who you feel you could talk to for hours. They give you social energy. They charge your social battery. So the very first thing I have students do is sit and make a list. Who are the people who give you energy, who charge you up? Who are the people who take from you? Those are people that we want to put boundaries around. We want to say no to. We want to limit as much as possible. And then also the places. Where do you thrive? Is it conferences, one-on-one business, or is it friends, socializing, parties? Knowing those places helps you optimize your social battery.
And when you say cues, which you said at the start of this conversation, people think of just body language. Is that the sort of full extent of areas that you focus on?
Yeah, so there cues come into 4 different channels. There is body language, that's facial expressions, gestures, posture, but there's also vocal. So vocal cues are the tone of our voice, our pace, our volume, our cadence.
Which, of course, is why when you talk to people through text versus, either face-to-face or even over the phone, you get a lot better understanding of what they're actually saying, volume, cadence, all that kind of stuff. You wouldn't, but a lot of other people would. But that is why I love you guys. That's at a certain point, you just have to okay, you're not going to make everybody happy. And if you're just the kind of person that doesn't necessarily rub people the right way, then fine. I'm going to seclude myself to my corner of the internet. If you want to come over here, if you're with it, cool. If not, cool. I'm just doing me.
There's also the words we use, obviously verbal cues. The types of words that I'm choosing to use are signaling my warmth and competence to you. And the smallest channel is our ornaments. The colors we wear, the jewelry we wear, the way we wear our hair, the way we wear your facial hair. Those are also signaling different things or cueing people to feel a certain way about you.
And what about
is somebody judging that I haven't shaven in a few days?
what we say?
Mm-hmm.
Because I know you're writing a book about, I don't know if I can leak this,
you
but
can.
Here we go.
Yeah, you can.
You're writing a book about conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So what we say.
Mm-hmm. So I did not realize how powerful our words are. And here's a study that really changed the way I think about this.
1.2.
Very simple study. They brought people into the lab and they split them up into 2 different groups. In one group, they said, today you're going to play the community game. And they played kind of a prisoner's dilemma type of game. The second group, they came into the same room, the same researcher, and they said, good morning. Today you're going to play the Wall Street game. The trick was the games were exactly the same. There was no difference between the 2 games. What they found was everyone who was told they were playing the Wall Street game shared an average of 1/3 of their profits. Everyone who was told they were playing the community game shared an average of 2/3 of their profits.
So just the framing of okay, we're here to be a community versus, okay, I'm here to make money for me, already is going to change the way that you think and approach these things.
This means that one word, community, made people think and feel more about community. It made them act more collaboratively. Mm-hmm. This means that the words we're using in our emails, our subjects, our texts, our LinkedIn profile headlines are cueing people for how they should treat us. One really simple way to think about this is your calendar. I send out calendar invites multiple times a week to clients, to friends. When we have meeting, one-on-one, call, video, interview, I am being cued for nothing. Those words are so overused, they're sterile. If you add cues that prime people to feel or think a certain way, you're actually setting them up for success. So 2025 wins, collaborative session, strategy meeting, goal overview, teamwork collab session. Those words are actually cueing that person's brain every single time they open their calendar that when we read a word like collaborate, we are literally more likely to be collaborative. So the words that we use, even one single word can actually change the way people think.
So this is very similar. If you were here yesterday and we were talking to Lydia and her cult story, she talked a lot about a lot about this stuff. And there's actually an example that she used that is directly in this conversation, but exactly using the ideas that work. And really filing down and figuring out why do they work and honing it in and taking away from some woo-woo kind of thing and into a more scientific, objective thing.
It's funny because our entire lives are people. Like the difference between me being a president, prime minister, superb salesperson, exceptional entrepreneur is probably just my understanding of other people and how I show up in my words and my cues. And so when you think about it like that, this could be, for many people, the most important subject for them to improve upon.
Yeah, shout out to Lydia. People seem to enjoy that. So we definitely got to get her back.
I would even go further and say, if you don't have people skills, you cannot succeed. You cannot succeed in life. You cannot succeed in love. You cannot succeed in business. It doesn't matter how smart you are. You need people to have success. So this is, I think, the most fundamental skill that people can invest in.
And how many people did you say you've taught people skills to?
400,000 students.
And is there a particular case study that stands out to you as being the most extreme in terms of case studying the fact that someone can go from zero to a wonderful place?
Yes, and it's my very brilliant but stoic students.
Shout out to Indie Film, loves that stoicism.
So I've noticed, especially over the last 10 years, because I've been doing this for about 17 years. In the last 10 years especially, my most extreme students are the students who are very, very smart, very talented and good at what they do, but they don't know what cues to send, and so they completely shut down. They try to become stoic, unreadable. They try to have no facial expressions. They literally try to poker face all the time.
This was pointed out by Destiny that what the fuck is his name? Sneeko. Sneeko, whenever he was going through this thing right after he thought he was the next top G, where whenever he was on stream, he would do exactly what she just said, which is, and it was most I don't know, apparent. One time Destiny was covering a thing where Sneeko went on to Fresh and Fit, and like there's a bunch of people, everybody's laughing about stuff, and Sneeko's, and you can see at one point he's trying to hold his, like, what are you doing, bro? What are you doing? And it's probably because he saw somebody, one of these extroverts, saying that, oh, you just got to do this and people will think this about you. And not quite, which is why I think most of you here are saying that you don't trust body language experts. But I'm wondering if that's just because we don't really know too much about body language experts. We really only hear it when, someone's in court and they're breaking down something that they're responding to or something like that. And it could go in a million different ways. This is coming from a different direction and talking more broadly about things that are common and relevant, but not necessarily saying, oh, because that person lifted their head or nodded while they said that means this.
And as they try to make connections, meet a partner, make friends,
being
people don't like them,
boys.
people don't trust them, they can't get buy into their ideas.
Yeah, there's definitely underlying things that, like, the looking up and to the left thing, or when people are shaking their head when they're saying something that's supposed to be positive or affirmative. Things like that can be clues into, what things are. I think it's just when people make it, again, an objective thing. It's that, like, oh, because that happened, that means this. It's like, not quite. You got to take it in a holistic way.
Meet a partner, make friends, people don't like them, people don't trust them, they can't get buy into their ideas. And those are the students where I see the biggest transformation. They don't realize that muting your cues is a danger zone cue. If you try to be stoic and unreadable, people literally cannot get a read on you. And so my biggest transformations have happened when I can say, you don't need to hide your true feelings. It's about amplifying them with the right cues. There's a famous example of this, Jamie Siminoff, founder of Ring. So I don't know if you ever watched Shark Tank.
Yeah.
So in this episode, for those who haven't seen it, Jamie
Shout out to Shark Tank. Put a one in the chat if you are not familiar with Shark Tank.
Siminoff entered the tank and he pitched $1 billion idea. Literally $1 billion idea, because it went on to raise funding from Shaq and Richard Branson. But in the tank, he pitches the idea and he gets so much pushback and so much negotiation, and he walks out of the tank without a deal. In fact, the Sharks did not like him. What happened? He had the $1 billion idea, but he did not know how to share it. This is the biggest transformation I see, is people who have brilliant ideas. They're good people, they're hardworking people, and they cannot get buy-in. They cannot make friends, they cannot find partners.
How do they feel? So if you had to say words that...
Was that like when she said ring, meaning like the Ring doorbell? And they didn't think that a doorbell with a video camera that connects to your phone would be a good idea. Or, I mean, I guess you asked for $1 billion, so maybe not, but I don't know. Nick said, can I speak for everyone here when I say those of us here are your boys? I love you for you, not who I want you to be. The Indian Jesus is awesome. Well, thank you so very, very much, brother. I do appreciate you. Dilly to you guys. Thank you so much.
They cannot make friends, they cannot find partners.
How do they feel? So if you had to say words that make them feel seen right now, how are they feeling as they're listening to this?
Overwhelmed, getting into interaction, just social overthinking.
Wait, who? What? How did we move? I thought we were talking about...
They're hardworking people. This is the biggest transformation I see is people who have brilliant ideas. They're good people.
Oh, okay. So she's saying, with all of that, the problem is people having good ideas but not being able to articulate them, which is again something that we talk about all the time. It's not just good enough to be right. It's not just good enough to have the right ideas. You have to be able to articulate them to other people, or it just doesn't matter. Shout out to Behave. Welcome to the party. 4 episodes of this show. I'm actually, I've never, I've seen a couple clips of this, but never really tuned in too much before.
They're hardworking people and they cannot get buy-in. They cannot make friends. They cannot find partners.
How do they feel? So if you had to say words that make them feel seen right now, how are they feeling as they're listening to this?
Overwhelmed, getting into interaction, just social overthinking, not knowing what to do, not knowing what to feel, underestimated, like people don't see you or the real potential that you have, a lack of confidence, and fear.
And so I don't know if you put 2 and 2 together, but clearly I am somebody who feels like I have really good ideas and I'm still working on the best way to articulate them. So all that stuff is extremely, extremely relevant to me.
Feel seen right now. How are they feeling as they're listening to this?
Someone who has a great idea but doesn't know how to spread it.
Overwhelmed, getting into interaction, just social overthinking, not knowing what to do, not knowing what to feel, underestimated, like people don't see you or the real potential that you have, a lack of confidence, and fear. Afraid that if you are your true self or you try any of the things we're talking about, people won't like you. And I want to teach you that you can be yourself and you can be liked and you can find your people. And that doesn't mean everyone's going to like you, but it means if you signal the right things, cues tell others how to treat you. If you signal the right cues, you will find your people.
One of the things that I
So far, I found a bunch of ya. Love you.
was sort of inferring from what you said is the importance of understanding your resting bitch face. That's like the term we use in the UK, resting bitch face, which is like when you're
RBF.
just listening or doing nothing. Like, how does your face look?
Yes,
And you're telling me that's really, really important.
it's real. So I call it resting bothered face. Because
Okay,
I
I
have to be
probably
like,
shouldn't use that word.
resting bothered face, RBF, same thing.
Mhm.
Okay, this is a real phenomenon, which is that all of us have
All right, so really quick, I'm going to end the poll there with no being, do you trust the body language experts? No is the winner. As we near the end of the stream, I'm going to do the same poll, and I'm curious to see how that is going to work out. Behave said, I suck at articulating. Yeah, that is the most difficult part because we all know how to think. And, some to different levels than others, but we all have ideas. We all have, answers to questions about the world that we have for the most part. But again, it's being able to use which words will convey that message to other people. It's tough. It is tough. And I am certainly not an expert.
That word.
resting bothered face, RBF, same thing.
Mhm.
Okay, this is a real phenomenon, which is that all of us have different faces at rest. Now I want you to look at my face for a second.
We don't all have different faces. What about twins? Jokes.
And my face at rest, I'm going to rest it for a second. My mouth angles down in sort of an upside down U. So it looks like this.
It does. Wait, before she
I'm going to rest it for a second. My mouth angles down in sort of an upside down U. So it looks like this.
That's pretty funny. She's right. So I'm gonna try. Just I'm gonna relax from the eyebrows down to the eyes. I think that's my normal resting face. I'm looking at the playback on my YouTube studio. Mine seems pretty. See, I don't know. What do you guys see out of that? What do you see out of my resting bitch face?
Face at rest. I'm going to rest it for a second. My mouth angles down in sort of an upside down U. So it looks like this. You see how these are going down?
Yeah.
Are you laughing at my U?
A little
Yup.
bit.
Okay. So at rest.
She's got a very bubbly personality. I really like just her, the way that she presents herself. So, I mean, at the very least, if she's following her own shit, then it seems to be working.
I look a little sad.
Yeah.
That is just my mouth at rest. Yours goes pretty straight across.
I just
You have a lot of hood. That's what
I
that's
have
called.
a lot of
hood.
Yes.
This is hood. Yes. So that probably makes you, do people think you're angry or tired?
Both.
Both. Okay. People never call me angry. They call me sad. You need to look in the mirror and figure out what is the default of your face. If your mouth angles down into a frown, people are going to think you're sad. You're going to have to be counteracting that with your cues. If you have a lot of hood above your eyes, or you have these two vertical lines that appear between your eyebrows, you actually don't have them. But if some people at rest even have those two lines, people are going to think you're angry or frustrated. If you have down eyes, so I don't know if you noticed.
She's under one supply. I mean, hey, that is one supply that it's okay if you, again, high on it. Behave said, I freeze up a lot. I have the words in my head, but they ditch me once my mouth opens. Yeah, it's frustrating because you know what you mean. You know what you're trying to say. You know what's in there. It's about like the disconnect between those two. And so that, again, is a big reason why, this platform exists, the Discord community exists, so that we can talk to each other and start to articulate these things. And so when I say, okay, I think this, and then someone's like, well, wait a minute, is that actually what you mean? You're like, oh, okay, no, maybe that was said in a different way. Allow me to clarify. And that way we can get better at articulating the ideas that are in our heads. Because again, if you are not able to do that, then people are going to misunderstand your ideas, and that is not their fault.
Yes, but I've added cat makeup to my eye.
Yes.
Yes, that actually makes me look less sad, because also my eyes slope a little bit down at the end, which makes me look sad.
Okay.
So people often are like, are you okay? Are you tired? I'm like, no, that's just my face. So I have ways that I counteract it. One, I get to use makeup, which is a great thing. But second, I know that I need to make my face a little bit more up. Right. So when I am interacting with someone, when I'm on video, when I'm interview, I typically rest my face in an upward position. I've activated these muscles. So don't I look happier?
You do, but have you got to consciously tell yourself to do that, or do you just always remember?
That's a good question. But that's interesting. So if you notice that, and this is, again, a similar type of parallel between articulating ideas and knowing what your face looks like. Like, I look at my face all the goddamn time because I do this. But if you're not, especially if you're a man with short hair and you're obviously not putting on makeup and stuff, how often are you looking into the mirror at your facial expressions? And so this is really interesting. I'm very curious because she said it's a conscious thing that she knows she does it. She has the U-lips. And so she perks up her lips at the end, and she does that on purpose. But a great question: do you have to consciously tell yourself to do it all the time, or has it become a habit? That makeup only for the ladies. Nick said, I hate when we have the words on the tip of your tongue, but you just can't get them out. I do that more than I want to admit. I said, shit, me too.
I look happier?
You do, but have you got to consciously tell yourself to do that, or do you just always remember?
No, I have to consciously tell myself to do that.
Every single time. Wow. So I wonder, and she used the word conscious there, but there's certain things about, I'm trying to think of an example of okay, I'll take the example of looking into the camera. That is something that I consciously know that I have to do. But it's kind of it kind of just I'll realize after a while that I haven't looked into the camera for a while, so I should probably do that. Not like, oop, okay, time to look into the camera. It's more in the nuance of his question. I would have been on the latter answer, but she's like, nope, gotta do this, gotta do that. Very interesting. Very, very interesting.
Have you got to consciously tell yourself to do that, or do you just always remember?
No, I have to consciously tell myself to do that. Now, I only need to do that with people with their first impression, or when I'm trying to make a good impression. My team knows that I'm not sad. Right? Like my team, they see me all the time. They see me without makeup. They know that I'm not sad. They know that's just my face. So here's what's critical. One, you should know what is your resting default. Are you looking sad, angry, or afraid? Oh, afraid I didn't do. So if you have, you actually have some. I'm so sorry.
Oh, you just.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You have these
just
lines.
Had someone laugh in the back. One of my team just laughed in the back.
So you have them just right here. These light lines here. So when we're afraid, we go, and we raise our eyebrows up, and you can't see it because I have Botox on my forehead. But if you get, there you go. That's afraid. No. Open your eyes and go. That's afraid. Yeah. So the more you have those lines and the whites of your eyes appear, like have you ever seen someone kind of walk around like a deer in the headlights?
Yeah.
Like a crackhead? No. You got some black? You got some black?
They make you feel anxious. If I were to do my entire interview a little bit wide-eyed, you would not only feel anxious, but you wouldn't believe what I was saying. So you all should see if you have this default lines or if the whites of your eyes show. Look at your profile pictures. In your profile pictures, here are the 3 biggest mistakes people make. 1, they're showing fear eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you are signaling accidentally anxiety. So try to make sure you're not showing the upper whites.
Well, and I mean, what a perfect example of the ex-girl or the stalker girlfriend meme. What was it? You guys know what I'm talking about. The girl that's like, and the reason it's creepy is not because she has some crazy look on her face. It's just that the eyes are bugged out. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? The crazy girlfriend meme. Yeah, this one. Overly attached girlfriend. That's what I meant. Is it going to be tiny? No. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a relatively normal smile. It is a big smile. But can we do, no, that one more. But if you cover up her eyes, then it just looks like a picture. And then if you do that, it's like, oh, wow, yikes. Behave said, my daddy has small almond eyes. My mom, big rounded eyes. My eyes are big, rounded almond eyes. Well, that is how genetics worked. Because my mom is my mom's Chinese, but she doesn't have she looks more Filipino than Chinese. She gets people asking her if she's Filipino all the time. And then my dad is Indian. And when I was younger, and actually all three of us, my brother and my sister, as well as me, when we were younger, we had way more Asian eyes. And just over time, I still have, a bit of Asian eyes, but you wouldn't necessarily, you definitely see the Indian in me a lot easier than the Asian or Orient, or whatever the hell you're supposed to call it, in me. But yeah, all these little things, right? Shout out to Box. Welcome to the party. Good to see ya. Good to see ya. To be fair, you could have gotten raisin eyes out of nowhere. True. That would be he said shit. I look like a crackhead. My whites show all around. So you just gotta smoke a little bit, and then like that.
You are signaling accidentally anxiety. So try to make sure you're not showing the upper whites. Second mistake people do is they make a contempt microexpression. So that's a one-sided mouth raise. So just do a one-sided mouth raise for me. Does it make you kind of feel like, better? Don't do it for too long.
Yeah.
So if you do it at home, there's a facial feedback hypothesis. When you make these faces, it actually triggers the emotion. Just like when you have the emotion, it triggers the face. There's a loop that happens.
And that's something I've heard commonly. There was something recent. There was something really recent that I was watching. Was it King? Was it in Shrinking? It might have been in there. But the aspect of they say that if you smile, that it'll trick your brain chemistry. So let's just smile. And it was in I forget exactly where it was from, but yeah, that's pretty well known. And I wonder how far it actually goes. If you just if you walk in on your spouse cheating on you and you just smile, then I don't think that's gonna override what's going on. But it certainly will have an effect, I guess. King Nirvana said, if the person they're analyzing has that Botox stretched face, they be in trouble. I mean, yeah, that kind of it's if your whole thing is about how the expressions in your face, why are you purposely numbing them? Age over beauty over anything, right? Bog said, my beard masks my facial expressions most of the time. So that is if that comes up, which I think it might, especially because of the fact that big beards have been more popular in the last decade or so. If that comes up, I bet you that she would talk about how the expressiveness or whatever of your eyes, and like she was talking about your forehead, probably come in handy a lot more. Because again, it's not just about the shape of his mouth is this, therefore that. It's a holistic thing. These are little signs and tendencies.
When you make these faces, it actually triggers the emotion. Just like when you have the emotion, it triggers the face. There's a loop that happens. So if people make the contempt expression, one-sided mouth raise, not only do they look scornful, kind of disdained, they actually begin to feel better than and scornful. So do not do an asymmetrical smile in your profile picture. You are accidentally signaling negativity. The third biggest mistake.
So the number one is don't open your eyes too much. Number two is don't do a half smile. I mean, of course, if you're attractive enough, you can pull off whatever. Box, I see Botox and plastic surgery everywhere on TV. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Toothy smiles are the best. Yeah, hell yeah.
Smile in your profile picture. You are accidentally signaling negativity. The third biggest mistake you will make is you do an inauthentic smile in their picture. The only true.
I wonder, as Boxer said, I wonder if this is where she's going to go, where I definitely used to do fake smiles. Let me rephrase that. I used to be really bad at faking, at smiling for pictures. I would feel like I need to show my teeth and then purse my lips. So that all my college pictures, it's bad. It's bad. Hank said, I like horsey face woman. Behave said, you're very, very yellow looking. Yellow and Indian looking. Oh, yellow and Indian. There you go. It's very pretty. For some reason, green. Very olive. All right. I've never been called yellow or someone else called themselves green. You are the first. But I'm still bad at it. You have to catch me in a real laugh. Yeah, that's what she is going to say is the smiling in the eyes. You smile with your eyes much more than your mouth. Snap the pic. It made a real laugh. Yeah, that and there was a meme that went around. I'm trying to think. Let's see if I. Olsen twins smile. Let's see what that brings. So smile like the Olsen twins. They used to have something where it's like you're supposed to like clench your teeth first. Or no. I remember what it was. You're supposed to purse your lips. So you're supposed to like loosen your jaw and do that first, and then smile from there. And that's how they always took pictures. And that was again another thing that trying to capture, the real laugh, because even subconsciously people can tell. Oh yeah, there you go. I stand corrected. Thank you.
Mistake you will make is you do an inauthentic smile in their picture. The only true indicator of happiness is when these cheek muscles are activated. Anyone can fake smile. This is what mine looks like. But you've seen people do it, right?
Yeah, I do it.
Yeah, and people know.
Yeah,
I would rather you not.
No, because I just don't have a good smile.
What?
Look, what am I going
to say? No, it's horrible?
Do you know,
that's not your real smile.
So I literally have to do this when I take face.
But I think, you're right. And I think he's doing a similar thing to me where he's trying to just, and it's like, can you, okay, you tell me if I'm smiling when I say go. Go. Was I smiling or not? Put a 1 in the chat if you think I was smiling.
It's horrible?
Do you know, I don't have a good smile. So I literally have to do this when I take face. That's my smile.
That looked more natural.
But
I can't do the teeth thing. I tried to. What am I going to do?
Well, you can smile without your teeth as long as it hits your upper cheek muscle. So just try this for me. Put your pen or your finger in between your mouth like this, and smile as high as you can go. Oh, that's better.
Wait, go what? Do what as high as you can go?
Put your pen or your finger in between your mouth like this, and smile as high as you can go.
Smile as high as you can go. I don't like that at all. Okay, fine. All right, fine. You guys got it. But the idea is that if I was like, that is a much easier way to see that I'm smiling because of the rest. I was talking about the eyes, but she's specifically talking about the cheekbones versus like even I saw it right in here, but that's all that I saw right in here when I'm doing it. And this isn't changing at all. So even if I go up to here, then barely can you tell. I'm supposed to pick one of my most genuine smiles ever. All right, we'll be waiting for it.
Muscle. So just try this for me. Put your pen or your finger in between your mouth like this, and smile as high as you can go. Oh,
got him! I was indeed doing the teeth smile.
That's better. That reaches all the way up into your eyes. Do you see?
Oh. Yes, it's not working. I still look crazy. Practice makes perfect, baby. Practice makes perfect.
I'm not sure.
That looks so much better.
Okay.
If you can activate these muscles in your profile picture, you don't have to walk.
Did she say with the finger in the face it looks better?
Or higher you can go. Oh, that's better. That reaches all the way up into your eyes. Do you see?
Oh, I'm not sure.
That looks so much better.
I mean, maybe without the thing in your mouth is the idea that once you train your muscles that way, you don't actually put something in your mouth. But yeah, look at a little nuts. And yeah, crazy also comes from the eyes. Shout out to Bobius. Welcome to the party. Looking a little cray. But hey, most of what she's saying seems to be, I'm certainly no expert, but it seems to be on point. Welcome to the party, brother. Very good to see you.
Oh, that's better. That reaches all the way up into your eyes. Do you see?
Oh, no.
That looks so much better.
Okay.
If you can activate these muscles in your profile picture, you don't have to walk around like that. But if you can activate, not the fear, just here, just here.
Okay.
If you can activate these muscles in your profile picture, it shows authentic happiness, or don't smile at all. I hate the advice. Just smile more. Fake smiles do not work. Dr. Barbara Wild studied this. She took pictures of people thinking of something they were authentically happy about, took a picture of them smiling. Then she told them to fake smile and took a picture of them. On the surface, you really couldn't tell the difference between the two smiles. They looked very similar. But she had...
I would have expected that they would be relatively different. I would like to know when the study was, though, because I think if you do the study selfie, let's even the first time that I assume it would be the iPhone, but the first time there was a camera or a phone with a selfie camera. If you did this experiment, let's say 5 years before, and then 10 years before and 10 years after, I think people later on would be much better at it, because naturally you want to work, especially if you're a woman, you're going to be spending a lot more time focusing on that and tweaking. Okay, maybe if I smile like this, maybe if I smile like that. Whereas before, people didn't really take pictures of themselves that regularly. Look like the creepy flirting emoji. That's the goal. That's what you want.
Participants take mood tests. Then look at the picture. Look at one picture or the other, group A, group B. People who saw the positive picture had an improved mood. They caught the happiness from the photo. People who looked at the fake smile had no mood change. This means I would rather you have no smile at all or be neutral than fake smile. But if you can...
So that's crazy. So even though they don't look that different, you can tell the person, if you saw those pictures, you'd be able to tell the difference. And this is goes back to and I think is going to be a through line through all of this, is authenticity. People can tell these things. And so even again, if it's a subconscious thing, then over time, this subconscious thing that doesn't quite fit and that subconscious thing that doesn't quite fit, it's just going to lead up, and it's going to put you in a situation of people thinking about you and I don't know what it is, but something's off about that person. And authenticity, you're not being genuine.
This means I would rather you have no smile at all or be neutral than fake smile. But if you can smile in your picture, it is so great for authentic happiness.
It sounds like it might be quite exhausting for some people, because I think some people, although they're happy, they feel good, they're nice people, they do have that resting bothered face, I think you called it. And there's other people that I know that just kind of walk through life with this resting smile.
Yeah.
We can all think of that person that's just always happy.
Yeah.
And then there's these other people who are objectively happy too, but they just have that resting bothered face. So it feels like life is going to be more exhausting for those people.
I think it's about choosing your heart, right? It is hard.
The caption says choosing your heart, but I think she said choosing your hard. Oh yeah. The right, I think that's what she's saying.
Life is going to be more exhausting for those people.
I think it's about choosing your heart, right? It is hard. It is exhausting for me to show up to a meeting when I'm in a good mood and have someone be like, "Are you sad and tired? Are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm fine." I find that exhausting. Is it also a little exhausting to make sure that in my first impression, I'm being a little bit more up with my face, open eyes wide and open mouth? A little less exhausting than that. So I think you have to choose what are the cues you're going to purposefully add. There are 97 cues. I've narrowed down 97 that I think are the most important. You get to make your own recipe. You don't have to do all the cues. If smiling is not your thing, smiling is not essential for being charismatic. When we talk about being charismatic, it's about being warm and competent. And you have 97 cues to choose from to make that warmth and competence recipe.
97. He's saying, either way, my face looks weird. I have crippling body dysmorphia. Well, that, of course, is going to be its own thing. But I think depending on, if it gets to a clinical level, then these types of things aren't likely to do much. I don't think that would hurt. But yeah, taking the, we all think that we look weird, unless you're super hot and you're super hot. then we all have it goes beyond having like insecurities. Like I feel like my eyebrows are too bushy. I used to take my the razor and like these little hairs that are like outside the main brow, like all those hairs. I would shave them off. I would go and I would get rid of some of these in here. But I just stopped caring. I just stopped caring. Like nobody else was noticing. I remember what I'm like. I always, I still shave my unibrow because that's just weird and gross. But sometimes it doesn't come in super full. It's just very faint. And one time I was feeling like, oh man, I really should have done that, and I just forgot. And I came on stream, and nobody noticed until I said anything, and then they're like, "That's not a unibrow." Like, okay, yeah, maybe go take care of that, but that's not a unibrow. Shout out to Guam Tech. Welcome to the party. Very good to see ya. Good to see ya. Behave said they say I'm pretty, but look riddled with anxiety. Well, maybe your eyes are too open. And just practice more of a relaxed brow or a relaxed eyelid. I don't know. We're not quite at the point where she's telling us how to fix things, other than put your finger in your mouth and smile. But maybe she'll give us some clues, give us some cues, and here for it. I'll say, said excited for the stream. This kind of shit I love to learn. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. As I was saying, we definitely were diving deep into politics and everything. And of course, we're not doing politics, but it's nice to have other stuff to talk about. This channel, this platform is not about politics. It is very politics focused, but it's more about culture. It's more about communicating. And this is right up our alley.
Warm and competent. And you have 97 cues to choose from to make that warmth and competence recipe.
97.
And so you don't have to be a bubbly extrovert to be charismatic. You can be a quiet, powerful introvert. You can be a compassionate, empathetic healer. Those look different. And so I think it's less exhausting to find your recipe and to use those cues a lot. Like there's certain cues in my book that I teach that I don't use. They just don't feel natural to me. But there are other cues where I'm like, oh, I really like this.
Has anyone ever done any really compelling studies on this idea of resting bitch face or resting bothered face, as you call it?
There is research on resting bothered face, and there are certain people who, when people see pictures of their face at rest, they assume a mood change. In other words, when there are certain people at rest where you look at them, they look neutral. But there are a certain percent of the population, when you look at them, they look angry, sad, or afraid. So it's real.
Wait, is she saying certain people will interpret that from the same picture, or certain people will just have that face?
Look pictures of their face at rest.
When people see pictures of their face at rest. So when people see pictures of their own face at rest, or they see a picture of somebody else with their face at rest,
assume a mood change. In other words, when there are certain people at rest where you look at them, they look neutral. But there are a certain percent of the population, when you look at them, they look angry, sad, or afraid. So it's real.
And there's some people you look at and they look happy and make you
Very
happy.
few people have happy resting face, though. You either look neutral or bothered.
So you said you were a
This is just my face. This is just how I look. Oh, God damn it.
Very few people have happy resting face, though. You either look neutral or bothered.
So you said you were
I love girls in glasses.
a recovering awkward person.
Yes.
Take me into what you were like.
Oh,
And what do you mean when you say awkward person?
I really wanted to go it alone. I was really overwhelmed by people and interactions. I didn't know what to do with my hands. I didn't know what to say. I felt like
What do I do with my
missed
hands?
a memo that everyone got in conversation.
What's the that Will Ferrell thing? I think it's Will Ferrell, right? It's like, and he's talking about that. What do I do with my hands? I forgot to do with my hands. Can somebody get that reference? Where's it from?
My hands, I didn't know what to say. I felt like I missed a memo that everyone got in conversation. I always felt like I was saying the wrong things. I had all these awkward silences. And then what would happen is I would try to overcompensate by sharing a ridiculous story or...
Oh, Ricky Bobby. Here. Open. Obviously, I can't play the video, but I don't know what to do with my hands. I knew it was from somewhere.
These awkward silences. And then what would happen is I would try to overcompensate
There
by
you go.
sharing a ridiculous story or talking too much or completely shutting down. And I kind of like wavered between completely shutting down and being overwhelmed and talking too much and saying too much.
Nick, relevant to our poll about trusting body language experts, said I voted yes, they can. Obviously, it's not an exact science, but I think it's a fairly reliable way to get a good idea for a person's mood. Yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot there. The problem isn't necessarily with the tenets of what reading body language is. I think it's more about when people misuse that. That's, I think, the frustrating part. Ronza said, "I always have trouble deciding on if I should clasp my hands in front or behind me. One looks like I'm protecting my balls, and the other looks like I'm a drill sergeant." Well, you could do the cop one where you do it here. You can do that one. I like to cross my arms. I just, it feels like, I'm just chilling. But I also don't mind, like, I'll stretch out. I don't know. It's not something I necessarily pay too much attention to. But as she was saying, that's definitely going to be different for everybody. He said, "It's real. I am full of anxiety when around crowds." And that for me, that's where the ambivert thing comes in, because I like being in public. I like being around. So it doesn't necessarily automatically trigger anxiety. Again, it's just very emotionally taxing. Buck said, "I pay attention to action over anything else when it comes to figuring people out." Yep. And everyone does. It's just that most people are not going to be very good at reading these types of signals. Context said, "I've also heard that just keeping your hands down to the side is the best way to go, but that feels awkward to me." Well, maybe you're just awkward.
Like, wavered between completely shutting down and being overwhelmed and talking too much and saying too much and just verbal vomiting all over everyone.
That's me.
And so I shut down. And in college, especially, I just felt so left out. I just felt so lonely. And I don't know if anyone watching is feeling lonely. I thought it was all my fault. I was like, I missed the memo. I don't know how to have conversations. I don't even know how to have friends.
And so I knew that I was that person when I was going into college. If you're just joining us, I was talking about college orientation. I made a decision. I was like, all right, I've been the shy, quiet kid, and I'm not doing that anymore. I'm just going to be more outgoing. And the girl that eventually became my girlfriend for almost the entirety of college. When we were doing an icebreaker, she was the first one up, and I was like, screw it, she's cute, let's just say something. And what was the question? Oh, I'm gonna remember this. It's weird that I do remember, but ice cream. Oh yeah. So it was like, "What's your favorite ice cream flavor?" And she said vanilla. I was like, "Oh, come on, vanilla? That's so boring," or something like that. Or like, "Oh, not chocolate," or something like that. And that's just something I never would have done. I just would not have said anything. I would have thought it. And just not say anything. But I just made a decision, and she just happened to be the first one up to do the icebreaker. She happened to be really cute. She happened to have a boyfriend at the time, so we didn't actually get together for another year. But it worked out. It worked out. Wherever you like, buddy. As a member of this YouTube channel, the Discord is open entirely to you. We do have a selfies page if you want to put it in selfies, but yeah, wherever you like. Free chat if you want to see it for all the free people who can see it. Of course, if you are not a member of the channel, you can still go into the Discord, and we have the free chat open to everybody. So definitely come and join us. If one of the mods could drop the link one more time. Look at that. Nick is on top of it. Thank you so very much, sir.
I missed the memo. I don't know how to have conversations. I don't even know how to have friends. That's what it felt like. That I desperately wanted to make connections, but I had no idea how to level up a new person to a friendship. I had no idea how that path happened. I had no idea how to have a conversation with someone, share something real, and then have a real interaction back. And so it was really lonely and overwhelming.
And I like to think of myself as shy, or as a shy introverted person, but I mean, I never. It was, again, that's why I think the ambivert thing is a better descriptor for me, because I never got that level of discomfort just from being around people. It's just that I get annoyed by people very easily, so I don't want to be around people. But I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Moving real and then have a real interaction back. And so it was really lonely and overwhelming.
And what was the catalyst for you to go on this journey?
I was in college, and there was a group paper assigned. And you had like 5 people and everyone had to do 5 pages. And I went to the professor and I said, I will write double the amount of pages if I can work by myself. And he was like, Vanessa, the point of the paper is not the paper. It's working with the people. And I was
Punch gas. The same thing happened with my first girlfriend, Taiwanese. Asked me if I had watched Ghost, the movie. Shout out to Swayze. While I was waiting at her bus stop, because shifty teens. What? Because shifty teens were at mine.
What?
Or are you saying that you had a similar thing where you're like, screw it, I'm just going in? You gotta shoot your shot. You gotta shoot your shot. Buck said, I hated working with people. I will do it myself. Thanks. I mean, you say that, and you know, it really is nice to not work with people. I have, if you count this as a job, which I absolutely do. I have this, and I'm a dog trainer, and I work for a company. I work for a company, but like we don't have a training center or anything. I just work for the company and communicate with the company. They pay me and whatever. But I get to set my own schedule, all that stuff. And then of course I don't have a boss or any coworkers here. And it is really nice. It is really nice. Don't get me wrong. But as I've been watching Hell's Kitchen, I spent a lot of times working in restaurants, and the camaraderie of being in the weeds on a Friday night with a bunch of people is definitely something that I miss. Do I want to get myself back into a restaurant? No, but I'm just saying. King said, it sounds like you're saying the Amber Heard thing instead of Amber Bird or whatever. Shout out to Amber Heard. Because shifty teens were at mine. Oh, she shot her shot with you. Look at you. Look at you. Says easier. Come on, bud. Come on. It's easier for females for sure. Most males are scared to fail with females. Morty, how did you get your foot in my pocket? And I'm going to slightly disagree with you here. Slightly. I think the bell curve of difficulty when it comes to women talking to men. Obviously, there's a lot of men who are not comfortable talking to women, but there is a much higher societal expectation to go do that, get rejected, or at least risk being rejected for men. When you turn it around on the women and you try to get them to hit on a guy, they just have no idea what to even do. And so in terms of the rejection thing, I agree with you for sure. But in terms of the skill of talking with other people, women are not good at flirting. Unless they are, you know what I mean? Behaves, and I was raised to be quiet and well behaved. Yep, me too. I'm not one who wants attention. I'm not that interesting. I'm so shy. I am definitely going to disagree with you. You're absolutely that interesting. But yeah, if you don't want the attention, then that's the way to go. She's at the bed. I watched through that whole trial, and that was near when I'd first become the Indian Jesus, and I got on the lead attorney's channel, and I was talking about it, and that was some of the first stuff that I put out as the Indian Jesus. So that is a special little place in my heart. And then Netflix put out maybe a month, 2 months ago, kind of a recap of the like a documentary on the trial, and oh man, that was a good one. All right, diving back in here.
Vanessa, the point of the paper is not the paper. It's working with the people. And I was like, and I started to cry in his office. I was like, that student. I was like, I don't know how. And he was like, Vanessa, you're very good at science. You're very good at breaking things down. What if you studied for people like you study for chemistry? That was like an aha moment for me. He said, why don't you study good conversation? Why don't you study the popular kids? Why don't you look at what are they doing in conversation that's working? Study it like it's a science. Hence my brand was called Science of People. That's when I realized, okay, it didn't come naturally to me, but maybe there's research on actual things I can do with my body, things I can say verbally, questions that work that will help me learn this the other way, turning soft skills into hard skills. That's when I started creating my first conversational blueprints. That's when I started creating my conversation formula. And it started to work. I started to try out these kind of tiny experiments, and I actually started to feel like myself, make more friends. It was tools. I had to use tools to be able to connect because it did not come naturally to me.
Yeah, and that's definitely a good part of all the stuff that she's talking about, is that you don't really have to take some huge leap. Like if you're, whatever the thing is that you're worried about, you can practice in small ways. You could practice your facial expressions in the mirror, and stuff like that, or just with friends and doing, like, okay, you be the girl and I'll hit on you, and then I'll be the girl and you hit on me, or whatever. It's something where you don't really have to risk much more than you're willing to risk. Excuse me. Gontek said, being an extrovert can be hard. People think you can just talk to anyone about anything, but there's always the pressure of monitoring your interactions and calibrating to fit the situations. It can be stressful. I do appreciate that I'm not really afraid to talk to anyone, although it really does depend on the situation. I think, okay, one of two things. Either I just think you're not an extrovert, you're an ambivert, as we've been talking about, or it's just my friend Nick is one of these people. Like, he will just talk to anyone, anywhere, about anything. And he loves it. Like, we'll go out, we'll hit the 7-Eleven to grab a Dutch to roll up a blunt, and he'll talk to 5 people along the way. I'm like, yo, can we go do what we're trying to do? Not only do I not want to talk to these people, I don't want to be here any longer than we have to. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm just chatting. So I don't know. I think some people are just built different. So maybe he's just built that different. Or maybe you're not as extroverted as you thought. Behave said, I'm so shy around men. I'm a hermit. They like me, but it's me that's the problem. I get shy and nervous. Word salad soon follows. And so, again, this is another, if this is something, again, if nobody has to work on anything they don't want to, but saying if you wanted to work on that, then that is a good way, or a good thing that you can practice those types of things without actually having to go and talk to men that you're specifically interested in. And so, yeah, I think this is going to be right up your alley, and hopefully she gets you something that can help you out. My spiritual text or sleep paralysis, whatever it is not something I want to tell people, especially a hot guy that likes me. Well, that's understandable. I mean, nobody said you gotta, tell your deepest, darkest secrets on first impression. That's definitely something that's for people who you trust. But that's where, everybody talks about, oh, I hate small talk. Like, yeah, we kind of all do, but that is a pleasantry that we use to kind of signal, okay, this is somebody who's willing to go further in discussion. If you're not willing to even have the small talk, why would you expect people are going to talk to you about the big stuff? King, so that's how King, so that's how I am too. I don't hate people, but let's go, Indeed, I do. Punchcast said, yeah, I'm an extrovert now. My friend is the ambivert, and ambi as in both. Ambivert, similar, like if you're ambidextrous, ambi meaning both. But my friend is the ambivert, but only around his own friends. Exactly. So, like, again, you guys would, I feel like you guys would be very surprised at how like, if you just saw me out in the world, and for whatever reason you were following me for an entire day, I think you'd be very surprised at how much I'm trying to talk to people and doing things. Like, this is my outlet for that. The rest of the time, don't fucking talk to me. I don't want to hear your voice. I don't want to use mine. Leave me the fuck alone. Leave me alone.
Make more friends. It was tools. I had to use tools to be able to connect because it did not come naturally to me.
Was it fixed from day one?
No.
So it was a journey.
It was a real journey. Yeah.
There you go, Behave. So it's a journey, and the journey of 1,000 steps starts with 1. Like I said, I followed you for a day. I was bored to tears. I told you. I'm boring, bro.
Was it fixed from day one?
No.
So it was a journey.
It was a real journey. Yeah.
'Cause I think that's important because often people think, read the book, get the tips and tricks, and you're changed and you're fixed. You talk about, I think, later in your life where you went to a dinner party and your husband was there with you, and you went home and told him that you thought everyone was angry at you.
Yeah.
When was that?
That was
this
probably maybe 4 or 5 years later.
Okay.
So I started mostly with conversation. That was sort of my first tool I needed. Is questions I wanted to ask, first impressions, and how to close a conversation very practically. I also realized about 5 years later, I married my college sweetheart, so I've been with my husband for a long time. And he said to me, "You always think everyone's angry at you." I was like, "Isn't everyone angry at me?" And I realized there are certain people who misinterpret neutral facial expressions as negative. I have this problem. So I will see a neutral expression on someone and assume they are angry or afraid or stressed or don't like me. And that was creating this really bad loop, because when you think someone doesn't like you, you shut down and become more unlikable. There was a study I discovered right around this time. This is done by Dr. Van Sloan. He wanted to know what makes popular kids popular. Very clever study. He studied thousands of high school students across a variety of high schools looking for patterns. Why is it that some kids across these grades and ages are really popular? He had all the kids ranked across all these schools. He had them looked at traits, and then he guessed what made the popular kids popular. Were they more athletic? Were they more attractive? Were they funnier? Were they smarter? What was it? Can you guess what it was?
Let's guess what it was. What makes the popular kids popular? I mean, obviously it's gonna be a general charisma type thing, but I'm assuming because she's talking about smarter or this or that. What would be the most relevant factor? I don't think it's money. I mean, I could definitely be wrong. I don't think it's money. I don't think it's intelligence. Confidence could definitely, both of you guys are saying confidence. I think that could definitely be it. And I'll maybe just tweak that a little bit. I'll go with you guys. I agree. Confidence, confidence with charm. I would say, I think you mean the same thing that I mean, maybe. And what am I trying to say here again about articulating ideas? So it's not just confidence. It's confidence in one's in one's presentation. And I think that is connected to self-awareness. So if you are aware that, like, I'm this guy and you're confident about that, that's what it is. It's not just that you're blindly confident. Does that make sense? I don't know if that is a thing that makes sense. Money than brute hotness. Okay, Mr. Black-pilled. Shout out to Dietrich. Welcome to the party. That's funny. I get people excited and friendly in a lobby of Call of Duty. It's how you need to real life. If you just pump yourself up with "let's do this" or "time to suck the day's dick," it will infect others. Oh yeah, positivity. Well, I mean, positivity and negativity, energy, traits. Welcome to the party. All right, let's see what it is. Guys, don't forget about that swole goal. Don't forget about the Overlord.
Ranked across all these schools. He had them looked at traits, and then he guessed what made the popular kids popular. Were they more athletic? Were they more attractive? Were they funnier? Were they smarter?
So we already brought looks more attractive. We already brought looks into it. So it's not looks. Otherwise, we wouldn't have said that.
What was it? Can you guess what it was?
I'm just basically
personality, but what about your personality? That's what I think she's asking.
this on the kids that were popular in my school. They were funnier, they were self-deprecating to some degree, they were remotely good at some sports, maybe. They were funny, happy, I don't know.
Okay, so he found that the most popular kids across the one single variable that was held true across all the different students.
If that were the case, I would definitely know about it. You know what I mean? Box said, I found people like me more when I am nice. Well, if you're nice, then yeah, you're going to find more nice people when you're nice. But if you are not nice, then being nice to other people, if other people are not nice, then being nice to them isn't going to work. They may like that you are nice to them, but that's a different thing. Mark said, when I come into this chat, every time I say hi guys, I hope you are well today. It's me framing the chat. Well, I appreciate that. And of course, a big shout out to Nick, who does his very best. Sometimes it gets, sometimes people jump in, but does his very best to welcome you guys as I do. And I always don't get, I don't always get to it, but exactly the same thing. I want to frame this as, hey, this is a party. You're welcome. You don't have to be a member or a mod or this or that. If you're here, you're welcome. Until you, give me a reason to unwelcome you, then you're good. Gontek said, being unapologetically genuine. Yeah, I think so. Hey, so the popular guys liked me, but I was always picked on by the baddies. I dressed very old-fashioned and way too conservative in school. They were jealous. That's how it works. You don't get haters unless you're doing something right. All right, let's see what he says.
Was the most popular kids had the longest list of people they liked.
Interesting. The longest list of people that they liked. So the more people that you like, according to her, the more people that you like, there's a correlation between that and how many people like you, which I guess makes sense. But that seems, I don't know. That feels kind of incomplete. Let's see where she goes with it.
Across all the different students, was the most popular kids had the longest list of people they liked. So when he asked, one of the questions of the survey was, who do you like? They had the longest lists. And when he looked at their day-to-day, they had micro moments of liking. They would
anything of value takes work, right? Good job.
Go down the hallway and be like, hey, Chad. Hey, Chelsea. Hey, Sarah. They liked so many people, and that in turn made them more likable. This showed me that being likable is in our control. Being likable means you have to be first liker. If you set out to like more people, you become more likable.
I don't know how much this actually works in the political realm, so take that with a grain of salt, especially the online political world, because people aren't looking to, make friends and stuff. But we're talking about the real world here.
And that was a really big shift for me because for so long, I thought it was all about me. It's a very selfish way to be, right? I was like, I better be impressive. I better be funny. But actually, what makes us likable is just liking as many people as possible.
I was laughing as you're speaking.
And that's why we need to get back to that. And it's crazy how the people who are most online, they have the most brain rot from being online, because we are all online to some extent. They're the pros at being online. And so they have this way of being, anytime that someone does something more than you do, they're likely to be better at it than you. And so if the thing that they're doing more often is being shitty to people on the internet, then they're going to be better at being shitty on the internet to people. And I guess that's a feather in some caps, but go outside, touch grass.
But actually, what makes us likable is just liking as many people as possible.
I was laughing as you're speaking because I was just playing out all the different sort of personas of people listening right now.
Yeah.
And I just had this one persona of the person sat at home who just like slumped over because they realized they hate everybody. When you said that, they're just like, fuck, I hate everybody.
Look, I get it. And I also think that if you hate everyone, if that's you, let me try to convince you for a second.
All right. Does anybody think that they are that person? Are any of you the one like, oh, God damn it, I really do hate all these people? Is she talking to you? Let's see.
I get it. And I also think that if you hate everyone, if that's you, let me try to convince you for a second. It could be because you're asking the wrong questions.
Okay.
I think I fell into that camp. I don't need people. I don't like people. I was very much in that camp for the first couple of years. Why? Because I had terrible interactions and terrible conversations. And it was awkward. Of course, I didn't like people, but I was also asking the wrong questions and I was telling the wrong stories. I was
very interesting. And again, this goes to the feedback loop of the way that you interact with people is going to affect how people interact with you, and so on and so forth. Gonzak said, I wasn't popular, but I got along with most groups. I'd smoke a blunt with the stoners, skate with the baddies, get philosophical with the depressed kids, and physically compete with the jocks. Well, look at you. My high school, and specifically my graduating class, was specifically less cliquey than you would normally see. Like, I thought the idea of like cliques where it's like the jocks and the stoners and the theater, like I thought that was a movie trope. Because the people in my graduating class, for the most part, a lot of us, not everyone, of course, but a lot of people were there, including myself, from kindergarten through 12th grade. So there was a lot of familiarity and that small town vibe. When my graduating class was almost 500 people. And we had 9 through 12 in our high school. But yeah, everybody really mixed with each other. And so not everybody, and there were loose associations, but it was more just about, okay, these people are a clique and these people are a clique, and this clique gets along with that clique, and this clique's having a party and invites this clique. And so because this clique is friends with that clique, and maybe they're not super tight, but now everybody's partying together and now they're friends. And again, it was never like set in stone. But again, I always thought that the whole clique thing, like the beginning of Mean Girls, Mean Girls, or you know what I mean. I thought that was fake. Dietrich says you're never gonna live here in the world if you can't escape here in your brain. Absolutely true. Hey, it said I was alone a lot. The girls hated me except the dorks, and I was always shy and distant with the boys. I'm alone a lot, but liked by nice people. And so, yeah, and this is going to exactly the type of things that she's talking about. It comes down to how happy are you with your situation? Like if you're fine being shy, if you're fine with your situation, then hey, live your life. But if you want to change that, then there are ways that you can clinically look at what to do and have scientifically based ideas of what to do. I said I barely had bullies, but the ones I did have, I freaking hated them. Oh man. Side quest. I had this one bully in high school, and it wasn't until really junior year, because we were all in, again, we didn't have cliques, but there was the group of people who would go to, the basement hardcore shows. And so within that group, right, there was this dude who was the front man, the singer, screamer of the most popular band from our area. Another band that I've showed you guys before eventually overtook them, but besides the point. So that guy, his name was John. So John exists, right? Putting that to the side, there was this girl that I met her in middle school, and I fell in love with her, and I was in complete beta territory, but just like fawning over her for years. And of course, girls aren't into that, which I was not aware of at the time. I would. Oh my god, I forgot about this. Oh man, I cannot believe I'm about to say this on the internet. I cannot believe I'm about to say this out loud on the internet. But, oh my god, this is so gay. For Christmas one year, I think it was 9th grade, or no, it must have been 8th grade. So 8th grade for Christmas, what I did, if you guys remember, there were these late night commercials where they would have they would be selling CDs of music collections. It'd be like the songs of the 80s and 90s, or songs of the 60s, or love songs, or this. And so what I did was looked up the album that was the love one. I downloaded on Napster. We're not talking high speed. I downloaded on Napster each one of the songs, and then burned them onto CDs and gave it to her for a Christmas gift in 8th grade. Obviously, that was fucking creepy. And so fast forward, we always stayed friends and whatever, but fast forward, and junior year, hanging out. And we hooked up a couple times. And, I finally, rang that bell. 3 months later, guess what? She starts dating John. Now, John is 6'4". I'm 5'4". He happened not to be like jacked, but still, he's got a foot on me. And he started just bullying me. So, again, this is, talking about, who said boomer? Yeah, talking about being a boomer. This is when, on the weekend, you would just go to the mall with your friend to just hang out. Like, that was the thing. And so, like, 3 or 4 weekends in a row, me and my friend would just go to the mall, hanging out. And the two of them, the girl and John, happened to be there. And they'd walk past us, and he would be like, well, again, can't say it on YouTube, but he'd call me the F slur every time. Then we would be at shows. He would purposely, because I was in the mosh pits and stuff, and he would purposely find a way. I mean, you guys have seen, how mosh, at like a Metallica metal type mosh pit is going to be, just a push pit. Everybody's just pushing around. But the hardcore shows are more like people are doing the windmills and all that stuff, throwing elbows, throwing, high kicks and stuff like that. And so I'd be, standing on the edge. And like, you put your hand out, make sure you're just standing there so that everybody gets close. And he would purposely come over and like, bam, elbow me or like kick me and do all this stuff. And, like, what am I going to do? Like, number one, it's within the confines of a mosh pit. So it's not like he was fighting me. I mean, he was hitting me for real. But oh yeah, he was. I bet you I was bigger than him. It's sad that he for so long. It was 3 months ago, bro. It was 3 months ago. You guys weren't even together. Anyway. Bullies. Where we at? Let's see, I live it. It died for a bit there. I saw that. My bro was 2 grades below me. Not at all the same bot. Quantex. So the issue was that I always doubted myself. Me too. It took me a long time to realize that I blended in well. It's only in retrospect that I had it pretty good. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think. Like, I've always wondered, like, what it would be like if I could get, that song, if I could know then what I knew now. If I could go back to high school with the mind that I have now, just tweaked so that it wouldn't be weird if I was into girls of my own age. Because if I'm 35 in my mind, but my body's 18, or 16, like, there's some weirdness there, but take the weirdness out of it. Then I think it would be amazing. It would be so easy to just be. I don't necessarily know if I would want to be super popular, but I definitely would have been able to be a lot happier. Yeah, shout out to Napster. Thanks, and I love you guys. You all make for a great community of awesome people. Thank you all. It's truly a pleasure to know you all. Dilly dilly to you, Nick. What would we do without you? Yep. So I got stabbed with pencils. I have a permanent tattoo from the 4th grade. You don't happen to be, oh no, okay, so I've seen you on camera. I was gonna say, you don't happen to be a guy named Kenneth who went to school with me in elementary school and then moved away, and I never saw him again until after high school, right? Because I did exactly that. 4th grade, it stabbed me with I'm like, I didn't know that it was gonna happen, but I think it was one of those lead pencils. Like, not the actual lead pencils, but what we called lead pencils. And yeah, he just permanently had a tattoo. John's a bitch. Is he a serial killer now? I hope not. Quamtex, man, my bad interactions with girls are always the memories that can make me cringe the most. It's good for you. Yeah, you never want to forget. Plum said he was insecure because after she played the mixtape, he was jelly. He never thought of it. I don't know about that. I'm pretty sure because this was the type of thing where I would write her poems and like, yikes. So I think they were definitely making fun of me. But hey, I got it in. So what else? He got my sloppy seconds. You thought I was in my mid-20s? What you talking about, Willis? Me? With all this gray hair? Nah, you crazy. All right, let's dive back in.
Conversations. And it was awkward. Of course, I didn't like people, but I was also asking the wrong questions and I was telling the wrong stories. I was trying to be impressive. The best way to be impressive, to be likable, is to help people impress you.
Help people impress you?
Is to make them feel so liked that they begin to like you back. It's aggressively liking. So that means that when
I want to hear that again. What?
Way to be impressive, to be likable, is to help people impress you. Is to make them feel so liked that they begin to like you back.
I don't know if I have that in me. I don't know if I have that in me. Especially being in this position where people are just coming after me and not looking to be friends. They're just, can I get a dunk here or not? I don't know. I mean, again, I think this is much more relevant to real life as opposed to, online stuff. Dietrich said, hot girls are like beta fish. They kill each other to be the only bitch in the tank. Regular girls are like goldfish. They live together happily, and they are alone. If they are alone, they will just eat each other. Hard to disagree with that. Are you calling women fish?
How dare you? Help people impress you. Is to make them feel so liked that they begin to like you.
Oh, it is. I should watch it more. But yeah, these are all that's all gray. Look at my beard. That's gray here. I just turned 35 on Thanksgiving. Punch said I couldn't do that. If you don't like me, move on. I am too busy to be bothered with drama.
Bingo.
Yep. What you talking about? What you talking about? Look at it. This whole shit. Maybe if compared to the back. So look at this. This is black. This is not. Now, can you tell? It's a lot of gray. Yep. I'm a silver fox. The plan is that hopefully I can grow the platform and the brand enough that when I'm like 40, then I'll cut my hair and go back to, a clean cut look. And then I'll have money, I'll worked out and, all that stuff. I'll have a glow up at 40. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I really think this is going to come in handy when, there's like 25-year-old bitches and I'm 45 and they're like, oh my God, you look so young, but you're so old. You're just like my dad. So I have calico beard and brown hair. I get some white hairs, not gray yet. I got good genes from the grandparents as far as hair goes. Yeah, me too. My grandfather is in his 90s and he's still got hair. My dad, it's thinning a little bit, but they say it comes from your mom's side anyway. So I don't think that balding is anywhere in my near future. Oh really? Yeah. I've never thought about that. But I also think that if I was going bald, I would just I mean, it is, but it's also great. But yeah, I was just thought if my hair started falling out, I just shave it. It's insane to me how long people try to hold on to receding hairlines. Just get rid of it. Especially in the last 10 years, it's been a style. Guanzek said, for those who have trouble liking other people, it's always useful to just become more curious. People love talking about themselves. It's a quick in. Very, very true. And again, all of this is applying to people in the real world. You got to adjust it for the online world. But this is a call for all of us to get outside and talk to more people in the real world.
Likable is to help people impress you. Is to make them feel so liked that they begin to like you back. It's aggressively liking. So that means that when you're with someone,
it's better than the comb over though, right?
You should be constantly giving them verbal and nonverbal assurances of how much you want to like them.
I really, really, really want to like you, but I just can't.
Watch them change. Watch your relationships transform. So I make it a policy of aggressively liking people. So I have 3 magic phrases for likability. Can I teach them to you?
Please.
Okay, so I want you to use these as many times as you can. 3 magic phrases for likability. 1, I was just thinking of you. Okay, so here's how you use this authentically, right?
Okay. I missed it. What did she do?
Can I teach them to you?
Please.
Okay, so I want you to use these as many times as you can. 3 magic phrases for likability.
Okay, 3 magic phrases for likability. Let's see. Let's grab this from Nick first. I was thinking last night that you don't look 35. I wouldn't think that you were 10 years younger, but 5 years easily. You get pass for 30, no problem, especially for a little distance. And I have to imagine that the height thing also makes a difference. I have to imagine that if I looked exactly the same, but I was 6 foot, you wouldn't necessarily again, maybe you guys, because you don't see that, you just see me. But I have to imagine that being small really does make me look younger. I mean, when's the last time you saw an old looking short person who wasn't old? All right, 3 phrases.
Please.
Okay, so I want you to use these as many times as you can. 3 magic phrases for likability. 1, I was just thinking of you. Okay,
I was just thinking of you.
so here's how you use this authentically, right?
Okay.
You think of a lot of people in your life all the time.
Yeah.
If you are thinking of someone and you can text them, I was just thinking of you, how are you? I was just thinking of you, how'd that project go? I was just thinking of you, it has been a while since we talked. Or, and better, you see a movie, you see a documentary, you see a matcha latte, you see a mug, you see a ceramic candle, and you're like, oh, this made me think of you.
So this is a very feminine thing. I would not, especially like if you're close with your boys, that's one thing. But a lot of this was about first impressions. And so if you're new friends with somebody, or like, let's say your sister's got a new boyfriend or something like that, I would not necessarily tell them that you were thinking about them. What I would rephrase that and be like, oh, this thing happened. And I last week, and I wanted to tell you about it or something like that. But thinking about you is a little feminine in the phrasing.
You see a matcha latte, you see a mug, you see a ceramic candle, and you're like, oh, this made me think of you. So my text messages, my conversations are full of actual moments where I was triggered to think of that person, actually, that this thing made me think of you.
All right. I mean, okay, but would Danny DeVito look older if he was taller? We got to make that a poll. Would Danny is it DeVito or I think it's DeVito? DeVito look younger if he was taller? Let's see. Bunchcast said, yeah, she is all faking it till she makes it vibes. But I think that's fair because she's been outright about that. Like when he asked her with the smiling thing or the resting face thing, like, do you have to consciously do that every time? She's like, yes. So I think she's pretty much telling us, yes, fake it until you make it.
Of actual moments where I was triggered to think of that person, actually, that this thing made me think of you. Or I was just thinking of you, I wanted to ask you about. If you don't think of someone,
that's a better one. I was just and again, instead of I was thinking about you, this just happened. I wanted to ask you, was this the same thing that you saw, or I just saw this thing? Was that the same thing that you were talking about, or something like that? For dudes, that's a much it's not as emotionally. I was thinking of you. It's just like what?
Think of you. Or I was just thinking of you, I wanted to ask you about. If you don't think of someone, they're not a person you need to have in your life.
Okay, so that's number one.
That's number
I want to pause on number one because I've got some sort of questions to ask here.
Yes.
It sounds exhausting. It sounds like it's going to cost me a lot of time.
Yup.
That I don't necessarily.
Well, and I if I can get ahead of this, I think what she's going to say is like, yes, absolutely. But if this is something that's important to you, then you got to work on it.
Necessarily have. And this is just my surface level reaction was, oh God, another job. Like, do you know what I mean? I like, if I've got to set aside an hour to like text everyone I know and go, I'm just thinking of you, it's going to be exhausting. I've got like 6 friends and I've got my partner, and I've got my family and my team. It's a lot.
Then just them.
Get the fuck out of here.
And also, it doesn't take an hour when you're like, oh, stainless steel mug. This made me think of you. Right? Like, you're only doing it when it's actually naturally occurring to you. I don't want you to sit at your desk and be like, I'm due for some I was just thinking of yous. No, this happens in the wild.
Okay.
You're watching a documentary, you're at a restaurant, you're on the bus, you're like, oh, that reminds me of this person. Quick.
Yeah, definitely don't go out of your way to try to tell another man that you were thinking about him, especially if you were not thinking about him. Guys, really, really quick, if you do me a huge favor and share this video, guys, it does not matter where you put it. Take the URL, hit the share button, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of these places. It does not matter, guys. If you think anybody's going to click on the link, it does not matter. Simply by you telling YouTube that I would like to share this, it will send it out to more people. Please, guys, it is so free, it is so easy, and it helps out the channel so very, very much, along with liking the video. Thank you. Context said, it is fucking exhausting, but so worth it. Communication is a damn superpower, and you can always get better at it. Agreed. Box of girls are bad at being friends. Well, being friends with you or being friends with each other? Because yes to both, but for very different reasons. Yeah, because Super Saiyan. What's the thing? Is it over 9,000? That's that, right? Shout out to Matthew King. Welcome to the party. Said it's the reason a lot of people didn't trust Kamala. Nothing authentic ever came out of her mouth. Bingo. Absolutely. And to a lesser extent, same thing with Biden. Same thing with Hillary. That when there's Obama standing next to John McCain, it's like, okay, you know, whatever. But when you see a Trump versus any career politician, it's just like, oh, like I didn't realize the bar was so low, you know. So very well said. Shout out to Indie Film. Welcome to the party. Said I'm thinking about sharing this video. Well, I'm thinking about saying thank you. Welcome. Yeah, wherever. That would be great. Yes, if you guys are in other Discords, especially big platforms, whether you're left, right, atheist, religious, whatever, blast it out there. Because again, this channel is about bringing people together that don't necessarily agree. So, you know, a lot of people in the TYT Discord would probably not like this, but Box is in there and he likes it. So why wouldn't other people? Why not? And again, guys, it doesn't even matter if anybody clicks on it. It's like that obviously helps, but it just by sharing on its own, it really helps. Next, they have a great skin tone, as in I can't see any signs of aging. I'm gonna blame that on the lights. Because I don't know, you know, a little odd there. But thank you. Exactly, behave. Man, think a man sounds sus. Hey, shout out to M169. Welcome to the party. Said like, subscribe, and share. Let's get lunch subs up. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you so very much, and welcome. Always a pleasure to see ya. What is right there? He's hungry. And speaking of which, we got Indie Film. Is that enough? I think he's like, I'm just going to steal that sponsor spot. No question, no comment, just pure love of the doggy. And by 2 cents, the new sponsor of the stream. Unfortunately, that doesn't count towards the swole goal, but I very, very, very much appreciate it. Remember, guys, $2 and up will get us there. We only got one, but it's early. Let's make it happen. Thank you so very much. Yeah, it's a little booty. The funny thing is, I moved the chair because he would always sit on this side. And then when I would be here, you couldn't see him. And so now I move the chair and he always sits behind me. It's like, come on, bro. He really, really just hates being on camera. And what's nice, and I watched a YouTuber who passed away recently, across the 100K mark. Let's get lunch there while he's alive. Please. Thank you very, very much. All right, let's dive back in here. Thank you again, Indie Film. Oh, wait, we got our poll here. What does our poll say? No, you guys think that Danny DeVito would not look younger if he looked shorter or if he was taller. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm just too sexy. Just too sexy.
You're watching a documentary, you're at a restaurant, you're on the bus, you're like, oh, that reminds me of this person. Quick text. That is less work than missing an old friend and not knowing what to say. It is less work to see something in real life or have a thought of like, I wonder how Sarah is, and reaching out to them than, I miss Sarah, but I'm not going to reach out to her. It's also less work when you see someone and you haven't seen them in a while, or they're a friend of a friend, or they're that casual coworker relationship. And you're like, what do I say? I think it's a lot of work.
She's saying, she's just, she's like, well, I want to be nice. And I mean, it ties into her whole thing about the way that you present yourself. And, maybe it is less feminine to be using, you guys say cuss words, right? But yeah, I don't know.
Of a friend, or they're that casual coworker relationship, and you're like, what do I say? I think it's a lot of work to go up to that person and be like, how was your weekend? I think that's a lot of work. I think boring small talk's a lot of work. If you actually thought of them to say, I know you love dolphins. I saw this dolphin documentary on Netflix. Have you seen it? I was just thinking of you. Made me think of you.
I got another concern.
Oh.
So if I
see, and again, just a slight change in the phrasing. What did she say? I saw a documentary on dolphins. I know you love dolphins. Instead of I was thinking about you, then you could use a lot more subtext with men. And it just, I saw this. I know you're into that. Have you seen them? That's going to have the same exact thing. What are we talking about? I feel like she is manipulating me right now. I mean, she kind of is. She kind of is, in the sense that she is consciously putting on not an act. It's less than an act. It's I don't know. That's what we're gonna have to find that word. What exactly is it? It's not an act, because she is being genuine. But it's a conscious way of acting, so it's less natural. I don't know. Let's put it to the poll. Is she manipulating us right now? Behave said she's so intimidating. I think she put me on her cycle. That's a good one.
Boring small talk's a lot of work. If you actually thought of them to say, I know you love dolphins. I saw this dolphin documentary on Netflix. Have you seen it? I was just thinking of you. Made me think of you.
I got another concern.
Oh.
So if I start firing out these WhatsApp messages telling people when I'm thinking
love
of them,
love
it's going to be opening up loads of conversations that
that now you have to keep up with all these fucking people.
I then have to deal with. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's going to be like, hey, I was just thinking of you, and then they reply, they go, oh, how are you? And I go, I'm good, thanks. And then I go, how are you? They go, I'm good, thanks. And then, do you know what I mean? And then they might ask me.
I don't believe in asking, how are you?
Okay.
Mr. Nine says it's hitting different after Legal Vice's passing. He was a year younger than me. It's stressing the importance of keeping in touch. He always stayed in contact with his friends. R.I.P. Legal Vices. There you go. Dilly. That's a good way to put it. She's teaching us how to respond. Whether it's respond to a person or respond to a situation.
Good, thanks. And then, do you know what I mean? And then they might ask me.
I don't believe in asking, how are you?
Okay.
That's a whole other thing. This is a good test. If you are worried that they're going to start a conversation that's going to bore you and feel like work, they're not a close friend.
So don't text them.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
It's a very good test. If there's someone where you're like, oh, I don't really want to hear how they are.
Yeah. Okay.
This is for the people who you want to level up with. There are 3 levels of intimacy. People who you kind of know, their personal, their general traits, where they work, where they live, what they do. That's it. You don't want to go any deeper with them. Level 2 people are people where they know your personal concerns, their goals, their motivations, their personality traits, their worries. Those are people who you want to invest in. And there's a last level, which is the most deep level, which is called self-narrative, which is the story we tell ourselves about ourselves.
The story we tell ourselves about ourselves. Do you, and again, this comes back to that notion of self-awareness. Anyfilm said, I just saw Don Lemon on TV earlier today, and it made me think of you. Do you like lemons? Well, if you imagine biting on a lemon, Do you taste acidity in your mouth? Shout out to Lydia. Buck said spiritual fitness is never leaving anything unsaid. Tell the people you love them. Tell the people you love that you love them. Indeed. Guantag said, is manipulation always a bad thing? Some people can benefit from some types of manipulation. It's the intent that matters. I think you could find exceptions that would fit this, but I'm comfortable saying as a rule that manipulation is bad because it's dishonest. And so there might be exceptions to the rule where, telling a white lie is the better thing to do, but that doesn't mean lying is okay. So I would say blanket no, but I see where you're coming from, and I do think there's situations, where like let's say somebody's in an abusive relationship or something, and you kind of manipulate them to see things differently. That I can get behind. I just think that if there is a way to do it without manipulation, that would be better. So maybe not always. So no, not always a bad thing, but it is dishonest. He's looking insecure around her. It's cute. Matthew said I was way behind on the stream. Wondered why none of the comments made sense. I'm caught up now. Well, welcome. Yeah, and just put it out there. If you guys do pop into the stream later on, I always suggest it's better to just pick up where we are. Worst case scenario, just be like, oh, what's going on? And either I or somebody else in the comments can give you a little recap of what's going on. But so much of this is about us talking, and then I'm not going to know that you're talking about something that happened 20 minutes ago and all that stuff. So either way. Dixie Insider said influencing is the word we're looking for. Not really an act, but she can predict the outcome by acting a certain way. How does that sound? Better. I like, yeah. She's influencing. Yeah. I think I like that. I like it. Well said, sir. Mark said people we know murdered someone will boldface lie. They will do it and people will believe them. Lying has an evolutionary advantage or it would not exist. Very true. Very, very true. Behave said, I tell myself I'm the living embodiment of word salad. Well, maybe that's why it's coming true. You're manifesting it. Yeah, I mean, all you got to do is just tell yourself the opposite. Even if you don't believe it, fake it till you make it.
And there's a last level, which is the most deep level, which is called self-narrative, which is the story we tell ourselves about ourselves. If you categorize your relationships, another activity I love for my students to do is make those 3 levels on a piece of paper. Write down the 20 people you can think of, the top 20 people you spend the most time with, where they fall.
So we have acquaintances. We have
acquaintances who just kind of know where you're from, what do you do, the
peripheral
basics.
people. Yeah, right.
And by the way, some of the people who you're close with you might not be deep with.
Yeah, true.
Right? Level 2, personal concerns. Could they tell you what is your, Steven, biggest goal right now?
Hey, shout out to Dixon Sadher with a $10 super chat. Hitting up the swole goal. No question, no comment, just pure love of the game. Thank you so very, very much. And of course, that makes you the new sponsor of the stream. Hey, and we also got in the film that your amount and message will be public. Guys, you know that you can put the messages that you want to be highlighted in the super chat instead of saying stuff that gets caught up. And like, I'm going to feed the dog anyway. I mean, you guys do whatever you want to do, but I'm just saying, use your super chats to say the big things. You know what I mean? Either way, thank you so very, very much. Modi loves that. Very much appreciated, gentlemen. And a big shout out to our new sponsor of the stream. And we got a share from Nick. Thank you. Very, very, very much appreciated. And we got our boy Kelly Green. Welcome. Let's dive right back in here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right.
And by the way, some of the people who you're close with you might not be deep with.
Yeah, true.
Right? Level 2,
Yup.
personal concerns. Could they tell you what is your Steven big
So level 1 was the thinking. I'm thinking about you thing, right?
Yeah, true.
right? Level 2, personal concerns. Could they tell you what is your Steven biggest goal right now?
Okay, and then the middle layer I didn't understand.
That's the middle layer. That's the middle layer. So it's general traits, personal concerns, self-narrative.
What's self-narrative?
So this is what my next book
What
is
you
about.
tell
I'm doing
yourself
research on it right
about
now.
yourself. What you tell yourself about yourself. Shout out to Kelly Green and again to Dixon sponsoring the stream. Yeah, exactly. Contact said you can influence a person's thinking just by the kind of question you ask. Let's say you piss someone off. Would you rather answer them if they say, "Why did you do that?" Or "What made you feel like you had to act that way?" It's a manipulative tactic, but it works towards a better goal. I don't know that I would consider that manipulation. I think going back to what Dixon said. Did I start? Yeah, about influencing. If you're influencing somebody and you're frame, I don't know that it falls into the same category. I think when phrasing things like this is because you're not being dishonest. There's just different ways to say things. You are genuinely asking why, what made the person feel like they had to ask that way. You are genuinely looking for that answer. So I don't think it would be considered manipulation. I think manipulation is making somebody believe something that's not true or not as true as could be. I don't know. What do you guys think? Behave said, I wish I could converse like Benjamin Cumberbatch. Benjamin? I thought it was Benedict Cumberbatch. There you go. He speaks perfectly and well educated. I'm jealous. Yeah, he's got a good one, right? Tell your bros you love them. It costs nothing and it feels good. Hell yeah. Okay, so level 1 is sexually ambiguous conversation. What? I don't think that's level 1. That might be level 3, but I don't know about level 1.
concerns, self-narrative.
What's self-narrative?
So this is what my next book is about. I'm doing research on it right now. Self-narrative is the story you tell yourself about yourself.
So is this a group?
Ooh, I got it word for word. Word for word.
What did I tell you? Didn't I tell you? 'Cause I told you. And when did I tell you?
The story you tell yourself about yourself. Yeah. And again, there is a difference between influencing people and manipulating people. So manipulating has that negative connotation because there is the level of dishonesty. And as Guantek brought up, there may be situations where using dishonesty is the best practice because of whatever circumstance. If somebody's on drugs or something, and whatever, then manipulation might be appropriate. But yeah, I think what we're talking about is not manipulation. It is just influencing people differently. Like I said, I guess there's a fine line between influencing and manipulation.
Bingo.
Yeah, we'll have to. We'll keep it. We'll keep it alive. That's another new conversation that we will continue to have. College educated girl, Iwi.
What?
I mean, it's not the education. It's what kind of education and how deep into the political ideology of that education it is.
Next book is about. I'm doing research on it right now. Self-narrative is the story you tell yourself about yourself.
So is this a group of people?
It's the levels of intimacy you are with.
What? The story you tell yourself about yourself? And he said, so it's a group of people. No, it's a story that you tell yourself about yourself.
Someone. So would your partner know?
Okay, he just missaid it. All right.
It's the levels of intimacy you are with someone. So would your partner know the story you tell yourself about yourself? I'll give you an example.
100% she would.
I think so. So
okay, let's go to our poll here. Is she manipulating us right now? And we went past that, and a bunch of you said yes. But well, does anybody who said yes to the poll still believe that manipulation is a better word for what she's doing than influencing? Because then we can go back to that. What was you saying?
The story you tell yourself about yourself. I'll give you an example.
100% she would.
I think so.
Oh, okay. So, Do you think you would? What was the phrasing she used?
Oh, the story you tell.
Would you? Do you think you would know my self narrative? Let's see what you guys think. Buck said, "You guys, with all due respect, are secondary actors in my story. It's not personal. It's human."
Bingo.
Exactly. Is she trying? How? Morty ain't going anywhere. He is. Oh, he is right here. He's right. He is here to stay. Well, me. What? Me. I'm me. Whatever way that you interpret that question. That's up to you.
Intimacy you are with someone. So would your partner know?
I'll tell you what I was implying afterwards, but I want to see what you guys interpret.
The story you tell yourself about yourself. I'll give you an example.
100% you would.
I think so. So I think that there are basically 3 main types of narratives, and you should
Good question.
know what these are for the closest people in your life. Maybe only 2 or 3. And you should also know what it is for yourself.
Big difference.
The best one is a hero narrative. This is, I've worked really hard. I've had some challenges and mistakes, but I've overcome with hard work and smarts, and now I am where I am. Every version of their story, their career, their life, their relationships is that same narrative over and over again. Then there's what I think is called the healer narrative. Again, I'm doing research on this for my next book.
So there's different ways of, how you would characterize the story that you tell yourself about yourself. And so Box asked the Indian Jesus narrative, and Behave said, "What's the difference?" This is I've been talking a lot about parasocial relationships, and the fact of the matter is that there is even though I'm on here for 30 plus hours a week, and even way more than that if you're in the Discord, then you're gonna know me better than people who maybe only see the streams. But I only talk about a very narrow scope of things on the stream. Like, I think maybe 3 of you. 3 of you from the Discord. I don't even know if everybody's here because I'll count on one vote in that. But even the minute aspect of what How I Met Your Mother, the show, means to me, you guys have no idea. You have no idea. You get that it's important, that I like it, that maybe I'm a little obsessed with it. But like, what does that mean? Why is it that I connect with that story? Those are just, and that's just a tiny, tiny, tiny little thing that like, you don't know. Guantek said, "I think you have to be close with someone personally to truthfully know their self narrative." Yep. I don't know. I don't know what you're seeing, bro. I think this is the second time you've said this, that we had somebody saying no where we had 100% or yes. When wait a minute. One guy said no. Everybody said no. What are you talking about? That poll is decisive, and I'm glad that you got. I know certain people who are in the Discord who would absolutely say yes. I would know Lutch's self narrative because they think that because I a decent amount about the way that I look at the world, things that have happened in my life, that you can fill in the rest. But you can't. You can't. And so it's on both sides. It's difficult because I know me. I know my self narrative, or at least what I believe my self narrative to be. But you guys, as I was just saying, only know that narrow scope of what I put on the internet. And it's so from your guys' perspective, it's hard to remember that like this is all you know of me. And from my perspective, it's hard for the same reason, but because I expect that maybe even if I've talked about something on stream, I'd be like, I did a whole stream on this. Okay, well maybe that person didn't see that stream. That's the 2 sides of the parasocial relationship. Very difficult to manage, but I'm working on it. Bog said, "Here for 2 weeks. I know nothing about you yet. I know more about Nick at this point. Yeah. That tracks. I said I like to know people before I know their politics. Well, I'm sorry I couldn't let you in on there. And exactly, do you smell your own farts? Maybe. Do I think they smell good? Maybe. But you guys would have no way of knowing. Behave said if I was him, who's him? Who are we talking about? Sorry, I know that everybody gets mad when I forget that you guys are saying something. If I was him, I'd be ugly crying, snot running all over the place, begging her to stop getting in my messy, damaged head. Oh, the guy. It would be embarrassing and unhinged. Well, again, that comes to the aspect of being comfortable with your flaws and realizing, oh, okay, this is a negative thing about me, but it doesn't make me a bad person. And I'm willing to work on it. So it is what it is. Nobody's perfect. And, nobody needs to. Dixon said, I think this is the reason self-deletion comes as such a shock. We really don't know the position of others or how they view themselves or their challenges. Abso-fucking-lutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. Absolutely right. I have nothing to add. Absolutely right. Am I pissed? Next, I think I've got more insight into some aspects of your personality when we just have been hanging out in a group listening to music. But that's still so little information. Exactly. So just that, like the music that I listen to and how I behave when I'm listening to music that I like. That's something that some of you know and some of you don't. And that's a very, very, very big part of who Lutch is. That's not necessarily a big part of who the Indian Jesus is, but it's a huge part of who I am as a person. Yeah, he seems to be handling it pretty well. But again, I think that comes down to being aware and comfortable with your own insecurities, your own flaws, so on and so forth. Yep. And oh definitely. So, we can, we should do that. We should do that like once a week, like maybe every Friday. We'll just do dance party. Well, not dance party, but DJ party, after party. All right. Dive back in here.
Over and over again. Then there's what I think is called the healer narrative. Again, I'm doing research on this for my next book. The healer narrative, their story is all about helping others. They typically are in careers of service, of helping others, physical therapists, nurses, healthcare. Their story is, how can I be more helpful? They tend to have a problem, though, if you're in a relationship with a healer, is they always put other people's needs before themselves.
Do they have some kind of historic trauma?
They can. And a lot of the times they were put in a position of caretaking too early. Like they were told that you're of value if you can caretake. You're of value if you put your needs last. So they tend to be people pleasers. They tend to say yes to everything. You have to be careful if you work with a healer because they're great to work with. They help, but they say yes to too much. So healer is the middle one. The last one is victim narrative.
So remember, there was hero, healer, and victim. I think most of us kind of have an idea of where this is going to go. The victim narrative. I'm so, oppressed. I think that's where it's going to go. So we got healer, hero, and victim.
Help, but they say yes to too much. So healer is the middle one. The last one is victim narrative. Victim narrative, no matter what, personal, professional, love life, taxes, they have the same narrative. I experienced challenges and mistakes, and I didn't overcome. No matter how hard I work, no matter how smart I am, the world is against me. So a question I ask people to begin to uncover their self-narratives, do you feel lucky? Do you feel lucky?
I feel very lucky.
I also feel very lucky.
Yeah.
Do you? Do you, punk? Do you feel lucky?
Do you feel lucky?
So who remembers yesterday when Lydia brought up the topic of we were talking about how she likes the science behind the woo. And so in a religious context, we talk about whether it's astrology or tarot cards or any of these kinds of woo-woo things. And of course, religion. But the idea that these things have a scientific backing, even if they don't necessarily work the way that they're told, like, you can read me, and there's still some level of reasoning behind it. Damn, guys, we are less than a minute away from the goal, and we only got 3 out of 15. Oh man.
So, question I ask people to begin to uncover their self-narratives: do you feel lucky? Do you feel lucky?
I feel very lucky.
I also feel very lucky.
Yeah.
People who have a resounding yes to I feel lucky are more likely heroes or healers. People who say I don't feel lucky, I feel very unlucky, are typically victims. Dr. Richard Wiseman did a study. He asked people to perceive their own luck. How lucky do you feel? Then he gave them a challenge. He gave them a newspaper. And he said, I want you to count the amount of images in this newspaper. They sat with the newspaper and they counted all the images, but there was a trick. There's always a trick in these studies. On the second page of the newspaper, in big print, it said, stop counting. There are 42 images in this newspaper.
Who remembers this? Put one in the chat if you remember Lydia talking about this yesterday.
Paper. In big print, it said, stop counting. There are 42 images in this newspaper. Almost all of the people who perceived themselves as lucky saw the ad, closed the paper, and gave it back. So there are 42 images. Almost none of the unlucky people did. The unlucky people missed the ad and kept counting, spent a lot of time, and made more mistakes. This means...
Why do you think that is? Why do you think the perception of being lucky would affect specifically that? I have a kind of idea as to what might where it might come in, but I want to hear what you guys have to say.
People missed the ad and kept counting, spent a lot of time, and made more mistakes. This means that if you think of yourself as lucky, you literally see more opportunities. If you think of yourself as unlucky, you miss them.
Yep. I've taken one of those as well. I believe I was also in the 8th grade, and I was they'll like read the instructions, and the instructions will be like a full paragraph, and and then there's a bunch of questions, and then the last sentence of the directions are ignore everything, don't take this test, just sit there and either sit there and wait, or sometimes like stand up and give me the paper. And so it's the people who are not reading that part are like, what the hell is happening? How are you done already? Well, read the directions. Anybody else said maybe some people are lucky and some people are unlucky. I believe that is definitely true, but that's a separate thing from whether again, your self-narrative. So if you have 2 unlucky people and one unlucky person says tells themselves that they are a lucky person, whatever is going on here, then that's going to have an impact on their life versus the other unlucky person. They're both unlucky people, but the self-narrative is that they are in fact unlucky. Again, whatever scientific thing is happening here will help the person who tells themselves that they are lucky, even if they are both unlucky.
Truly see more opportunities. If you think of yourself as unlucky, you miss them.
Is it possible to change how you see yourself?
I do believe in a growth mindset. So I do believe that if this is resonating with you and like you're like, I feel unlucky, I might have this victim self-narrative. I do believe it's possible to change your perception of yourself. And that's starting with small moments of heroism. I think that changing your people skills, saying, I don't like people, and saying, I'm going to find a way to like people. Saying, I'm bad at conversation, I'm going to find a way to be good at conversation. To say, I'm an awkward person, no, I'm a recovering awkward person.
Quantex says, believing in luck seems like magical thinking to me. Well, it depends on what you mean by luck. I think that, there is external factors that affect people. And some of those external factors are lead to positive things, and some of those external factors lead to negative things. So what's magical about that? I don't think luck is just the. I mean, we can if you play poker, you can see that luck is a factor of time and preparation. Bingo. There you go. Saying
I'm bad at conversation, I'm going to find a way to be good at conversation. To say I'm an awkward person, no, I'm a recovering awkward person.
Well, behave. If you want to change, you can change. And I definitely, the link to this entire thing is in the description. I would suggest, for whatever it's worth, I do like a lot of things that she's saying. And she does get more into specific practices to use later in the podcast, which is, maybe we'll do a part 2 on this one. We will see. But yeah, if you want to change, you can change.
Saying I'm bad at conversation, I'm going to find a way to be good at conversation. To say I'm an awkward person, no, I'm a recovering awkward person. If we can begin to take those tiny experiments and change them one by one, we begin to have small moments of heroism, and that's how we change our self-narrative.
I'll say both. There is an aspect of random chance that, or at least what we perceive as random chance. But the time and preparation is absolutely a factor. So I think there's different types of luck. But yeah, completely agreed. Of course we love you, B. Of course.
As an employer, I think about this a lot, these sort of verbal and non-verbal cues. And actually, I had an interview some time ago, and I think I came out of the interview, and I think objectively, the person might have been qualified, but there was something about their energy or cues or something that signaled something else to me, that they were an unhappy person, or they were tired, or they didn't really want to be here, or something like that. Are there any studies that confirm that our hidden communication is driving our success in the working environment?
Yes. So this study blew my mind. It's 58,000 working hours over 11 different companies. So a huge amount of data.
What?
They wanted to know if low performers infect the people around them and if high performers infect the people around them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I don't know I don't know what it's like in a corporate environment. I've never worked in a corporate environment, but I've definitely, as I was talking about before, worked in restaurants. If you've ever worked in a restaurant, again, I don't know how it applies to other types of jobs, but if you ever work in a restaurant, you absolutely know that it's like, oh, who am I working with today? Because aside from the money, that is the number one factor on whether or not you're going to have a good shift. Whether it's the fact that you like those people, the fact that those are good workers and they will pick up the slack and make sure that you're good and all that kind of stuff, then that absolutely is going to change. And I'd imagine it's the same in a corporate environment. But again, I just can't speak to that. Guys, we are almost at the 2.5 hour mark. If you would like to keep the party raging, you know how to do it.
What they found was if you sit within 25 feet of a high performer, your own performance improves by 15%. Here's the kicker. If you sit within 25 feet of a low performer, your own performance decreases by 30%. This means that our negative emotions are more contagious. That if you're around people who are low performers, whatever that means to you, who have negative cues, who are feeling anxious or tired or low confident, you could catch those cues and that affects your own performance. This is why it is incredibly critical to invest in the 5 people who you spend the most time with. You want to make sure those 5 people are the cues you want to catch.
Yeah, man. Restaurant work is a whole different ball game. Some people are built for it and some are not. I happen to be somebody who thrives under pressure. And so like it's funny because when I was serving, it'd be very common that like at least once a week, I mess up my first table. And so, they will have my shift start at 4, right? And, the dinner, maybe there's, the dinner rush isn't until like 6:30. And so between 4 and 6, there's usually 1, maybe 2 tables at a time. And then you're just hanging around talking with the other servers, the bartenders, the cooks, whatever. And the fact that like I'm, it's like, oh, okay, it's just it's 2 people. They're eating a basic thing and putting their drinks in. Like that's easier for me to forget versus when it's in the middle of the dinner rush and I have 7 tables and they're all going crazy. Then I can dial in and be like, okay, we got to do this. And then you get into that flow state. It's like boom, 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 and it's just it just has a flow. And if you can't get there, or if you get overwhelmed, they call it being in the weeds. If you get in the weeds and you can't just power through it, then it ain't gonna work. What? I'll pay 2 to 1 tomorrow for today? For what? What? Let's talk about Willis. BK, you said I worked at the Cheesecake Factory. I made the salads. Oh man, that menu test is the number one reason why I never applied to the Cheesecake Factory. That menu test must have been daunting. Isn't it like a 10-page menu? Insane. Insane. There you go. There you go. But even still, the same kind of stuff. All right, let's dive back in here.
5 people who you spend the most time with. You want to make sure those 5 people
Oh yeah. Yep. You are the
incredibly
5.
critical to invest in the 5 people who you spend the most time with.
Bingo.
You want to make sure those 5 people are the cues you want to catch.
Oh, Box is saying he will match. He will match $2 for every dollar, up to $50 tonight. Well, dilly for even offering, brother. Thank you so very, very much. Let's see what you got. Behave said, I am an LVN. Healthcare is something I'm great at. I'm like another person when in the zone. Yeah, it's just like woo, 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 woo. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful, and it feels good. It feels good to be good at something. I there's a similar type of being in the zone when I'm here talking to you guys, and I kind of lose myself, and I just get into what we're doing. Especially hearing my own voice in my ears, as opposed to just hearing it from. As opposed to just hearing it normally. It's easy to get locked in. But I think just sitting here, the movement. I don't know what it is. It's just different. Shout out to King Nirvana. Thank you so very, very much. Let's keep this party raging. Thank you so very, very much. And we got Guam Tech with another $2. $2 make ya holla. Thank you guys so very, very much. Oh, Box, thank you so very much, brother. That is such a kind offer. I really do appreciate that. Awesome. All right, well, let's keep the party raging.
To invest in the 5 people who you spend the most time with.
Oh,
you want to make sure those 5 people are the cues you want to catch.
Challenge accepted, he said. $25 from IndieFilm. He said, all right, that's the full 50 out the gate. I'm with it. Thank you so very much. And of course, that makes you the new sponsor of the stream. Thank you, guys. Thank you. That was quick, man. You guys just come through for me, man. You come through for me. The channel's been hurting, but the money has been a little bit lower, but you guys have held me up, and I cannot thank you enough. Thank you so very, very much. You guys are amazing. Thank you. Yep, we love it. They said, everyone, thanks for liking the stream without being asked. Absolutely. You good, bro? Did you hit your head? Okay, you're okay. But are you saying that we should give you an extra treat because everybody is so kind? Is that what you're saying? Okay. Yummy. Oh, hey. Shout out to Dixon Cider. 10 gifted memberships. My brother. Thank you so very much. Shout out to Struggling, Kitty, CMT, VAR, Gay John, Scaly Artifact, Ayon, Trigger, Old Craig, and Godjita saying you are all members. So make sure you hit the Discord. Join our Discord because now you have full access, including the after party. Dixon, thank you so very much. That makes you the new co-sponsor of the stream. Love it, guys. Thank you so very much. And Guantat with a share. Hell yeah. And hell yeah. Shout out to TSN. Get those memberships. I got you guys got me a membership, so I'm glad that you guys got a membership.
Dilly.
Thank you so very, very much, guys. It really does help so very, very much. And so with that, let's party!
Best in the 5 people who you spend the most time with. You want to make sure those 5 people are the cues you want to catch. Do you like the cues they're sending? Do they give you the right motivation, feelings? Do they make you feel liked? Do they make you a better version of yourself? There's There's just one more chemical aspect of this, which we have to do more research on. This was a very gross study, but it's one of my favorites. It's a little gross.
Ooh.
You ready?
Mhm.
Okay. So they brought people into their lab. They split them up into 2 different groups. And
Wait,
they made
what?
the first.
What?
Okay. So they brought people into their lab.
They brought
They
people
split them up
into
into
their
2
lab.
different groups.
Okay, 2 different groups.
And they made the first group wear a sweatsuit where they catch your sweat and run on the treadmill. So they sweat a lot on the treadmill. The second group, they wore sweatsuits and they took them skydiving for the first time. Both groups sweat a lot. Treadmill, sweat, and skydiving sweat. They took these sweat samples and they had unsuspecting participants go into fMRI machines and scan their brains. Then they gave them both sweat samples to smell. Poor these poor people didn't know what they were smelling. They went,
We got to dive back into that. But Box, with an amazing question and very relevant, said, so did I manipulate you guys? I'm going to pay, but manipulation, I would say no. So if you said no, I just said that, which, I mean, I'm not going to hold you to it. But if you just said that, then yes, that would be manipulation. But you put the idea out there, and then other people made a decision based on the reality of what you were saying. And so, no. And hey, I'm okay with the manipulation, even if you're not going to pay me. But if you are going to pay me, then absolutely not. That is influence. That is influence. Hold up. We need another one. We don't want to be anti-science, bro. That's how you fall off the cliff. Science is the one. Science is the one. I wasn't saying that I don't think you are. I was just saying base influence versus manipulation. I trust you, but I'm just saying if that's not in the cards, then you've done enough. So yes, the notion of people not being able to have a conversation with me, source. Yes, that's fucking cringe. But yucky study, unless you're talking about the actual grossness of the study and the sweat. Okay, there, fine. But I still want to take the opportunity, in case I misunderstood you and somebody else would say something, that science is the best mechanism for understanding the universe that we have. That doesn't mean that okay, yeah. So I wasn't sure if you were saying yucky that it was a gross study or yuck. Oh, a study. So fair enough. But there are a lot of people who would feel that way, and because of how common it is on the left. Source. Like, oh my god, all you care about is well, hold on. Science is good. It's just scientism when you get dogmatic about it. So thank you for the opportunity to bring that up. Guanzek said, I was going to pay to keep the show going anyway. I manipulated Lutch. Or did he manipulate me? The world may never know. The world may never know. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
and they gave them
Okay, let's go.
both groups sweat a lot. Treadmill, sweat,
Sweaty.
and skydiving sweat. They took these sweat samples and they had unsuspecting participants go into fMRI machines and scan their brains. Then they gave them both sweat samples to smell. Poor these poor people didn't know what they were smelling. They went it. Everyone who smelled the skydiving sweat had an activation in their own amygdala, their own fear response triggered. In other words, when they smelled fear sweat, they didn't know why, they began to feel afraid. Everyone who smelled the treadmill sweat had no change at all. This means that, yes, we can talk about facial expressions and body language and vocal cues and words, but there's also something chemically happening with the people around us that we can literally smell fear and we catch it. And that is also why it's really important to follow our gut. Oh dear.
Well, I was going to say, well, then we're all screwed, aren't we? We can't.
What was the oh dear? He must have had a facial.
Also why it's really important to follow our gut.
So you see that like she was talking, and then before she even finished, she screamed, "Uh-oh!" So he must have had a facial expression there. That is like
Smell fear and we catch it. And that is also why it's really important to follow our gut. Oh dear.
Well, I was going to say, well, then we're all screwed, aren't we? We can't do anything because if we're giving off these chemicals which are impacting those around us, it doesn't matter if I smile and do the whole like.
No, because I think intention.
again. This comes back to the holistic nature of all of this stuff. That it's not one and done. Like, oh, if you smile this way, then that means that. All these things come together to give you an impression of what's going on. If only it was a joke that anyone that anyone thought this. They doing it right now. They doing it right now.
It's around us. It doesn't matter if I smile and do the whole like.
No, because I think intention is the back door into confidence. It's very hard to fake confidence. I don't believe in fake it till you make it. I don't really. But if I say, I have a conversational tool for you that's going to make your conversations better, you become less nervous. You become more excited. You ask a better question. They give you a really good answer. You feel super charismatic.
I think that's, when people actually do that. Like, what do you think? Forever.
You become more excited. You ask a better question. They give you a really good answer. You feel super charismatic.
Let's go back on that a little bit.
Intention is the
Around us. It doesn't matter if I smile and do the whole like.
Okay, yeah. So he's saying he's locking in on shout out to The Sandlot. When I was in for 13 straight years, I went to a daycare, not a day camp, not a daycare, a day camp in the summer. And every rainy day, we would watch The Sandlot every single time. Hey, a shout out to Kelly Green with $1. Make you holla. Thank you. So very, very much. And guys, like we say, every dollar counts. So that keeps the party raging. Thank you. I feel like I was saying something and then I stopped and then I think we got that. Bet. All right. Oh, spicy. Morty is a boss. Morty is the boss of me. Do you think that every single winter morning I would get out of my bed and go to the outside world if it weren't for him? He runs this household. That doggo was terrifying. Like it, but different, plus street forts. Which dog? Morty? I mean, he I don't know how scary he is.
If we're giving off these chemicals, which are
so yeah, okay. So he's focusing in on the single aspect of pheromones, and she's saying no. It's a holistic thing. Like that's an aspect, but you got to all this stuff comes together.
Impacting those around us. It doesn't matter if I smile and do the whole like.
No, because I think intention is the back door into confidence. It's very hard to fake confidence. I don't believe in fake it till you make it. I don't really. But if
yes, you do. Yes, you do. This whole thing is a fake it till you make it type of scenario. If you tell yourself that you're lucky, then you'll have better effects. If you reach out to people, then what? This is exactly fake it till you make it. Am I wrong? Another poll. We need another poll here. Let's say, is she pulling a fake it till you make it? We'll just leave it there. Because she's saying that, I don't know. Because let's go back to the smile thing. She said her resting bitch face, her mouth kind of curves down. So she purposely will, purse her lips up. The question is she trying to get to a point where she naturally smiles? And this goes for any of the things. I'm just using that as an example. Dixon said it's not fake it till you make it. It's intent and purposeness. Okay. And we obviously haven't heard her explanation. Mine or well, you get what I mean. Anyway, I'm set up by George Clooney sweat
Beta,
on the dark web and wear it as cologne.
haram.
How's that working out for you, pal? Let me get some.
is the back door into
All
confidence.
right, let's see.
It's very hard to fake confidence. I don't believe in fake it till you make it. I don't really.
Wait, so far you guys are against me, saying that no, she's not pulling a fake.
But if I say I have a conversational tool for you that's going to make your conversations better, you become less nervous, you become more excited, you ask a better question, they give you a really good answer, you feel super charismatic, they feel really liked, you feel really likable. Ooh, we have a good little cycle. So I think that intention, going in with really purposeful cues, helps you feel more confident and triggers these beautiful cycles.
The cycle, is this the cycle you're
It's the
talking about?
cycle, yes.
So, well, okay, we're at 50-50. Is this you asking me, or is this you saying that's how she's framing all of this? And again, I don't know who was talking shit about the fact that I don't understand all of the comments, but hey, I'm just me. Maybe I'm dumb.
You feel more confident and triggers these beautiful cycles.
The cycle, is this the cycle you're
It's the
talking about?
cycle, yes.
The
it's
Q
the
cycle.
The Q cycle, yes.
I'll put on
Okay, what do we got here? What do we got here? The Q cycle. So we got decode, cues read interpreted from others. That goes to let's do this. Can we bring that further down?
screen and in the
Internalize. Cues affect our behavior and mood, and encode. Cues we send to other people accidentally or purposeful. So let's keep that in our minds, because I don't know how long we're going to keep it up.
Cycles.
the cycle, is this the cycle you're
It's the
talking about?
cycle, yes.
The
it's
Q cycle.
The Q cycle, yes.
I'll put it on the screen and in the description for anyone that wants to see it. But when I saw this, the reason I printed this off is because it really hit close to home, because I'm someone that meets a lot of people. And when I meet people, there's on the very rare occasion, something about someone will just kind of throw my energy. And it throws my energy to the point that I realize I'm then acting a little bit in terms of my interaction with them. And it's almost like I can't control it. Like something about the person has unnerved me or just made it. And it's nothing that I could consciously tell you, like say, oh, it was the way they shook my hand. Just something about them.
Yeah.
And exactly, that's exactly why the pheromones thing, like Indieville was talking about, that's why that isn't going to work. Where the fuck is it? That's why this won't work unless you look and act like George Clooney. Because, and I mean, again, while it won't work on its own, it will absolutely have an impact. Assuming that you have bad pheromones.
And it's nothing that I could consciously tell you, like say, oh, it was the way they shook my hand. Just something about them throws me into this different state.
Yeah.
And when I saw this, I almost figure out why, because the first step in this Q, you explain, I mean, it's your Q cycle.
Yes. Okay. So we often mistakenly think that we send a signal to someone else, they send a signal back to us, and that's it. We don't realize that there's a cycle happening within us, which is that if you send me a negative cue, I internalize it, and that changes the cues I'm sending back to you.
So like if you're constantly being a dick to me, and then I assume that you're being a dick to me this time, that's reasonable because of the cues that you've already sent me. And so if you're acting, well, I'm just asking a question. I'm just trying to give you constructive criticism. If you're just, okay, does that match the cues that you've been giving me before? Or are you just expecting me to understand that you've been a dick all of the past and now you're trying to be helpful? Quantex said it can be fake it till you make it at first. The good part is that making it includes this physiological changes that will make it stick. Tactics change into habits pretty quick. Well, that's exactly the question. So if that is the case where she is putting forth something that is unnatural so that it becomes physiologically natural, that is, fake it until you make it. All fake it until you make it is at first, unless you never make it. Girl behavior. What? Elaborate. Say more. Say more, bro. What you mean? What you elaborate? I want to hear this thought.
If you send me a negative cue, I internalize it, and that changes the cues I'm sending back to you. Here's a very simple experiment that showed this.
Ooh.
They put a participant in a room, and they had an actor in the room flash them a social rejection cue. That could be an eye roll, a scoff, a distancing and blocking behavior. So the participants in the room and this person across from them, they don't know as an actor, sends them a social rejection cue. What they found was the moment that participant saw the social rejection cue, their own pupils dilated and their field of vision increased. This means that somebody saw, that person doesn't like me, and their body reacted to fight or flight. Does anyone else feel this way about me? Are there any escape routes for me? And that then changed what cues they sent back to that person. They were more anxious, they were more nervous. If you
and again, we have to understand how when we're talking to people online, we kind of have to change what, how it works. But yeah, exactly. This is I'm kind of getting on my soapbox or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, when people are shitty, and then I come out and match that energy, and they expect like, hey, whoa, I was just like, no, the fuck you weren't. I'm not stupid. And just because you can retreat and say those things and hide behind your fucking keyboard doesn't mean that I don't understand. And so if you are getting negative cues from me, if you're getting negativity from me, that's on you. I'm a very pleasant person. I'm just not going to deal with bullshit. That's it. I am not mean to people who are not mean to me. Simple as that.
Me. And that then changed what cues they sent back to that person. They were more anxious. They were more nervous. If you walk into a room with someone.
Well, yeah, that's the thing that about, people will want to have that type of conflict, like especially on like Twitter. Like the whole purpose is to get people into these fights. And so that's why it's not necessarily the same thing as in real life where you're not trying to get in conflict, because behind a keyboard, anybody's willing to get into a conflict. Lumzek said, I wonder if confidence can change that social cue exchange. Someone acts that way in public. To me, all I can do is laugh at them. Yeah, I think it definitely does, because the idea of this not being a holistic, or this not being a single it being a multifaceted thing where you have to look at the whole picture. That if you are somebody that's more confident in yourself, and especially confident in martial arts and being able to physically defend yourself, then you have no need to do what she was just saying. Oh no, what's my escape route? You don't need that. You're like, all right, whatever you want to come. I mean, like, I'm not trying to fight, but if you come after me, like, I got you. I'm not worried. And so, absolutely, that confidence absolutely will change things. Democracy demands conflict. A democracy, if you can keep it, ma'am. That guy at one time. She can't fight. No, I would. Well, hey, you never know. You never know. Jiu-Jitsu has flipped the game on its head. But shout out to the Democratic Republic of the United States of America.
That then changed what cues they sent back to that person. They were more anxious. They were more nervous. If you walk into a room with someone and you're feeling bad, you probably caught a cue. Here's the good news. You can stop the cue cycle from being negative. There's also positive cues, right? We can catch positive cues that can be good for us. But we can stop the negative cycle if we label the cue we see. Dr. Matthew Lieberman at UCLA studied this very clearly. He put people in fMRI machines and he flashed them a fear microexpression, the one that you showed us earlier, with your eyes really wide. When people saw the fear microexpression, they caught the fear. They began to feel afraid and their amygdala lit up. But when he taught them, say fear or...
See, guys, this is, would you say stuff, what you can't, what? Just say whatever you're referring to. When you just say random things that I don't know if you're talking to me, if you're talking to somebody else, if you're talking, and then we start the show, I don't know. No, what? You know that I don't know what you're talking about. So say the thing that you're talking about. Nick said, true. You've always been nice to me. I don't attack you and you don't attack me. Seems reasonable and even a common sense response. She is applying one study to her project. All right, let's go back. Let's see.
They showed us UCLA studied this very clearly. He put people in fMRI machines and he flashed them a fear microexpression, the one that you showed us earlier, with your eyes really wide. When people saw the fear microexpression, they caught the fear. They began to feel afraid and their amygdala lit up. But when he taught them, say fear or think fear, he taught them the microexpression. It stopped activating their amygdala.
So what is what is she doing that she should not be doing? What is she getting wrong? Like elaborate. Talk to me. There's a conversation, bro. I want to hear what you got to say, motherfucker.
Or think fear. He taught them the microexpression. It stopped activating their amygdala. Meaning, if you know how to read the 97 cues and you see contempt or social rejection or a mouth shrug or a lip purse, all not great cues, you can in your head say, lip purse, I'm good. Or clocked, noted. That intel is actually empowering. So
I need to hear that one more time.
For rejection or a mouth shrug or a lip purse, all not great cues, you can in your head say, lip purse, I'm good. Or clocked, noted.
Meaning that you don't like, oh, that's who you are. You're being that person. I think that's what she's saying. Like when she says clocked or noted, meaning like, oh, okay, I see you for what's going on here. I think that's what she means. Okay, so this is the kernel of truth. What is the non-truth? It's like pulling teeth here, oh my God. What you talk about? Well, let's
Intel you can in your head say, lip purse, I'm good. Or clocked, noted. That intel is actually empowering. So that backdoor into confidence is also, you can label it, name it, tame it, and you're in control of it. That is a much better way to interact and also can help you like people, for all my people who don't like people.
Okay, so
Well, there you go. If you don't like people, all you got to do is pretend that you like people.
in those moments, I should, in my head, just say what I'm
label it.
clocked.
Yeah, like that's
Okay, what about judging people by a smile? Bro, tell me your thoughts. I'm not in your head. I'm not in your head. You know what you're thinking. I don't know what you're thinking. All you said is no, you can't. It's fierce. She can't fight. She's applying it to her pet project. I'm not yelling at you. I'm exclaiming that I would like to understand your thoughts. So instead of giving him a half set, tell me what the fuck you're talking about. I know, but just try. You got 200 characters. If it takes more time, there's only 10 people here. If it breaks up, you got it. Or write it in Discord or something. I don't know. If you're not gonna explain it, then I'm stuck. You're putting out all this information about, oh no, she's doing this, she's doing wrong. Okay, I want to know about that because she's very convincing to me, and by being convincing to me, then I'm now co-signing what she's saying to everybody else. So if you can see that there's something wrong here, then just be like, like, come on, man, help me out. We're all working on this together. We're all trying to figure this out together. So, yeah, I mean, if it's easier in Discord, that's why we have the Discord. Yeah, write it down, take a picture, put it in Discord. There you go. There you go.
Okay, so in those moments,
This is why we need to talk about communication.
I should, in my head, just say what I'm
label it.
clocked.
Yeah, like that's what I say to myself. Or like red flag or noted.
You're particularly famous for a TED Talk that you did,
Yeah.
which did very, very well. It was called You Are Contagious. And it really opened
Anybody heard of that?
my eyes to the importance of hand gestures,
Yes.
which I didn't really think were that important before. But it's funny because going through this election cycle, and obviously Trump has now been elected as the next president of the United States, he is someone in particular that uses a lot of hand gestures. And in your TED Talk, you make the case that hand gestures matter.
Oh, so much.
So I saw this part, among others, on TikTok. And so now we're getting into more of the specific, things that you can do that will change what she's talking about. Nick said, if somebody smiles at me, I'm more likely to respond in a positive way than if they are frowning about me. They're frowning at me. Yeah. Makes sense, right? Guanzek said, it's like she's taking the fear response away from the animal brain to the higher brain by choosing to label it. That makes sense. Emotions are what lead to immediate reaction because everything passes through the animal brain first. We actually have to work to get it to the higher brain functions to deal with it instead of reacting. Bingo. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that I'm sure you've heard a million times that where that comes from, our fear response comes from, when we were living on the plains and, you heard a rustling in the bushes. If your brain goes to, oh, it's probably just the wind, then, maybe it is the wind, or maybe it's a tiger and you die. Versus you hear the rustling in the bushes, like, oh no, maybe that's a tiger. Let's get the fuck out of here. Then whether it's a tiger or it's the wind, you're good. And so that's the whoever was talking about evolution earlier, that is the evolution of how we perceive our fear. But as Guamzek saying, that is a reaction. And so taking it from the animal brain to the reaction into the, your human conscious brain, that is how you can adjust your thinking about that. Well said, sir. Well said. Dixon said, I think she's saying that by recognizing what you're seeing, you can then stop blindly reacting and be more present. This, in turn, builds confidence. Indeed. See, you guys are on it. Hand gestures matter. Hand lives matter. Absolutely. Even for the Italians? Even more for the Italians. The more you tell a lie, the easier it gets to go. Yep. You would die. You would die. You would die. Maybe not the first time because it might be the wind, but eventually it's gonna be a tiger. Shout out to Cheddar Steve over on Rumble. Welcome to the party. Thank you for joining us. We are talking about the hidden language of gestures, and I actually saw this part already. She wants to go into a very interesting thing about hand gestures. Welcome to the party.
Hand gestures. And in your TED talk, you make the case that hand gestures matter.
Oh, so much. I think the hands are the windows into the soul. I think what we underestimate is the power of our gestures. Love it. Just love it. Just those jazz hands, those jazz hands. So I'm going to do a little experiment with you. Okay. So I'm going to put my hands in my lap. I've been very careful to leave my hands on the table for the entire interview. That's on purpose. Now, something funny happens in your brain when you can't see my hands. And the longer my hands are underneath the table, the more your amygdala will begin to fire. And the more distracted you become with, where are her hands? Why are her hands under the table? And the moment I bring my hands back out again, your brain goes, ah. And that is because hands show intention. And this makes sense from an evolutionary perspective. So if we go back to caveman days, if we were approached by a stranger caveman and they went,
hey, shout out to me, Vanessa, I would like a residual from that. Thank you very much.
Friend. We saw they weren't carrying a rock or a spear, and they were probably a friend. In fact, when we go, so nice to meet you.
I was just going to bring this up. That is, I don't know if I ever verified this, but that's what they say. The reason that, handshake started was because we always used to have like swords and guns and shit on us. And so by putting your hand out, you're showing that you don't have a weapon. Let's see if she says that.
Friend. We saw they weren't carrying a rock or a spear, and they were probably a friend. In fact, when we go, so nice to meet you, we can see someone's hand, we know that they're literally not going to harm us. So our brain still keeps this mechanism that if we're on video and we can't see someone's hands, or they walk into an office with their hands in their pockets or behind their back, we feel a little bit uneasy. So there's two things for this. First is the moment someone first sees you, you want to be friend. Good to see you. Oh, so nice to meet you.
We'll put your hand up for people that can't see.
The moment I walk into a room, hey, nice to see you. Even before I handshake, even an old friend, I'll be like, oh my gosh, so good to see you.
Context and hand gestures are so important. I've noticed a huge difference in selling strictly by phone and something like Zoom. People are just not as invested. So you have to work harder with the tone without it. Bingo. And that is why I understand that people need and want their anonymity on the internet, especially in the political world, which is why I don't push too hard for you guys to cam up when shout out to Ayan who just joined the Discord. Welcome. If you were somebody who got one of the memberships, let me know and I will make sure you get all those permissions. What was I saying? What the fuck was I saying? This is important. There's a huge difference. Oh, about the Discord. That's why, I give it an extra credit for camming up and being on camera, because the whole purpose is to communicate the best we can. And if you can't, if you can hear somebody's voice, it's easier than reading text. But if you can see their face and hear their voice, it's way easier than just hearing their voice. And I think there's a bigger difference between like text only and then voice only, and then voice and video is probably up here. And then, in person is going to be obviously the best thing. But yeah, absolutely. Dixon said handshake was to check for weapons, but that's why it was grabbing by the wrist, not the hand. Yeah, you go that one. The old what do they call it? I don't know. I was like a pirate. No, I don't know. I don't know. Leave me alone. Yeah, hands definitely a huge factor in, especially men, how when you're not using violence and force, then other social cues come in, and having a strong handshake, looking at people in the eye, that's a good example. I used to, in my shyness, I used to always stare at the person's hand for whatever reason, and I would look at their hand and I would shake their hand like that. And so I had to be conscious about, okay, this is just a random guess, but maybe between the shyness and the fact that I was on because I was younger. I was gonna say the fact that I was on drugs. Maybe I need to focus more on finding their hand. I don't know. But yeah, I'd shake hands like that, and so I had to be more conscious about like, okay, handshake and look up, because as Bach's saying, super important. Behave said evolution doesn't make sense to me. How can nothing create intelligent design? It's not intelligent design. It is much broader than that, but that is not really something we can get into right now. But hey, come join the Discord. I will be happy to show you some very, very basic videos that can explain why things like, oh, well, if evolution is real, how come there's still apes? Why that is a question that demonstrates that one does not really understand what evolution is actually saying. Natural selection is not intelligent design. It is just a natural progression of the fittest characteristics. So the let's say the tigers that can run faster are going to be able to eat better. So the one tiger that can run faster is going to eat, and another tiger that's going to run faster is going to eat. So now you have got two fast runners breeding. So the next generation, they're probably going to be good runners. And then that continues and continues and continues. And now you've got a good runner and a good runner with another good runner and a good runner. And that happens for generations after generations after generations after generations. And all the slow tigers, they die off because they aren't fast enough to eat or aren't impressed enough to mate. That's as complete as I could be in a little side quest like this. Because they had no feathers, giant fucking chickens. Bog said, I'm not illiterate. I'm bad at typing. Very fair. Very, very fair. But give it a shot. I've got you see how some people be fucking up all their shit. I have no problem trying to figure it out. I want it. And again, I'm not chastising you, which I learned apparently some people think that I am. But they, I guess, are little bitch ass. Oh, that was a close one. But yeah, like I appreciate your perspective and I want to understand it. Going back to being able to articulate our ideas. Natives put up our hands to prove we didn't have 6 fingers.
What?
The giants would kill and eat us. This is why we raise our hand. All right. Well, that is definitely that speaks to the evolutionary aspect of raising your hand. Even if it's for different reasons, where Europeans, if we just to put it simply, are doing it because of this, and natives are doing it for that, then it's going to show that the people who are more willing to show their hands for whatever reason are going to be more likely to reproduce. And again, it's not it's not one generation. It's not that 2 monkeys who are a little bit smart are going to give birth to a human. It's you got 2 apes that are not monkeys, but you have 2 apes, and they have more human-like. Maybe the 2 apes that stand upright most, they breed, and now their whole thing is like the Ivy League of standing uprightness. And so then with another generation of all of the upright monkeys having offspring, then you have another generation of upright monkeys. Then all the most upright of the upright monkeys then continue to go and mate, and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of generations that stacks up. Evolution by natural selection. Nature selects which characteristics will be what helps that species survive. Next, I definitely think that if you're on camera in Discord, it's easier to get an impression of them.
Bingo.
And it seems like if you're on camera, you're less likely to be a troll. Yep. Do they have good hair? Well, it depends on the mama and the daddy, right? Just like us. My mom's dad's got great hair. So do I. All right, let's dive right back in here. Guys, we are hitting the 3-hour mark now. So let's keep it raging.
I walk into a room. Hey, nice to see you. Even before I handshake, even an old friend, I'll be like, oh my gosh, so good to see you. On Zoom, morning. Hey, team.
For people that can't see, she's basically putting her hand in the air.
Which is like a little wave.
A little wave.
We love a palm. As humans, we love seeing someone's
Love a
palm.
palm.
There's something about it that makes us feel like, they're literally open palmed. So that's the first. In the first few seconds of someone seeing you in person, on video, try to flash your palm. Very, very simply.
What about this? What about when I'm twiddling with my? Does this count? Because like I'm showing my palm. Does that count? I don't know. How do I? So with that in mind, how do I usually open the show? So let's oh whoops. Let's pretend that we're starting the show. All right, and so we go. All right, welcome back to the party, everybody. This is Morty, and I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Everybody hit that like and subscribe. You know I would do it for you. So I mean, there's definitely a lot of hand movement. I don't know about the palms, but maybe I'll hello. I guess girls like forearms. All right, I'll take your word for it. Thank you, sir.
Seeing you in person, on video, try to flash your palm. Very, very simply. Second, we understand competence in two ways. Very highly competent people know their content so well, they can speak to you on two tracks.
I think so.
They can speak.
Oh, where am I? I think so. Yeah, the palm is the origin of the wave. That would make sense. I don't see why. I don't see how else it would be, but yeah, that makes sense.
Highly competent people know their content so well, they can speak to you on two tracks. They can speak to you verbally, but they also can speak to you with their hands. This is why we loved picture books as kids. And so when someone is speaking, we're listening to their words. But second, we're looking, are their hands outlining their words?
And I'm going to broaden this to, just the ability to see me. But this is why I've been so, what's the word? I've been so loyal. Let's say I've been so loyal to StreamYard because I feel like I'm surprised I don't see more people doing this thing where, the video's playing, you do this, and you pop up here. Usually people will either be here or they'll be here. Or they have a different setup or whatever. But to me, it's like, why the buttons are right next to each other. You just click here, you click there, and it naturally brings your eyes. But then, yeah, there is many times, like maybe I'm not going to say something, but I'll pull myself up to make a gesture, whether it's just a hand gesture or in general. And so let's
do verbally, but they also can speak to you with their hands. This is why we loved picture books as kids.
Like that. And so that is why I do that, because it's very clear that I can communicate with you without having to say anything. And just by pulling myself up, then your eyes are going to be drawn to, oh, well, he pulled himself up for a reason. What's going to happen? And then, it works out. I'm surprised I don't see more people doing it. How you doing, Jetter Steve? Grumtech said, every time I get a Zoom sale, I call them off. They see that goofy brown guy, and I'm waving to them like a maniac. Well, we get the gist. Usually gets a good laugh, which helps disarm the shit out of them. Well, yeah. I asked them if they see. Okay, every time I get a, I ask them if they see that goofy brown guy. Oh, you see that goofy brown guy like that? Good. Yeah, good sales tactic. This is why we love Trump. He does the accordion, and it's just listen. Okay, I'm not doing Trump. Nick, so use your hands like you're Italian. And most Sicilians are just about as dark. So you should fit right in. Hey, there we go. I'm the Italian. Jesus. Behave said I was talking about the giants that were 12 feet tall. My people were terrified of them. I bet if they existed. I believe, well, we know about like Australopithecus. I don't know if that was native to here, but yeah, big mammals absolutely existed. Absolutely. Yeah, they go, hey,
They can speak to you verbally, but they also can speak to you with their hands. This is why we loved picture books as kids. And so when someone is speaking, we're listening to their words. But second, we're looking, are their hands outlining their words? So for example, all the best TED Talks start the same way. And this is what got me my TED Talk, is we studied all the TED Talks from 2010, looking for patterns. And my team and I coded every TED Talk we can find, looking for differences between the most viral TED Talks and the least viral TED Talks. We found the most...
Every time she says TED Talk, I think she's saying TikTok.
Looking for differences between the most viral TED Talks and the least viral TED Talks. We found the most viral TED speakers used an average of 465 hand gestures in 18 minutes. Whereas the least popular TED Talkers use an average of 271 gestures. So not quite half. Meaning, if someone walks on stage, here's a really good TED Talk. They all start this way. You ready? Today, I want to talk to you about a big idea. We're going to share 3 different things that are going to change your life. So for people listening, I was outlining with my hands along with my words. If I were to get on stage and say, today I have a really big idea, it's huge, and hold up my hands in a really small way, your brain is 12.5 times more likely to believe my gesture over my words.
What? I've got a really, really, really big dick. Nailed it.
In a really small way, your brain is 12.5 times more likely to believe my gesture over my words. And so what we can do as speakers, as very highly charismatic speakers, is think about how can I outline, very basically, not modern dance, what I'm saying, or how can I emphasize things with my gestures? If something is big, show me. Is it beach ball big? Is it, what is this big? Donkey big? Is this a donkey? I don't even know. But a goat? Yeah. A goat? This is a goat big. If you have...
This is very, if you guys have seen me talk about religion and you're like, let's say God is up here. I specifically take my hand out of the frame saying like God is outside of our understanding. If that is the case and Christianity is not whatever it is brings us here, then how do we know that we can't get here? That is my my thing. And again, those gestures really help because imagine if I tried to explain that concept without using my hands. So like, let's say, okay, I'm going to try. So let's assume that God is something outside of our understanding. But what is to tell us that the proximity to God that we have through something like Christianity can't be superseded by something or anything else? I mean, it still makes sense. But this, and that makes a lot more sense because it's manipulated. King said it can also get annoying on talking with hands too much. She should acknowledge donkey big. What made God? Depends on what you mean when you say God, and that will be my mic drop.
Big. This is a donkey? I don't even know.
Yeah, most donkeys.
But big, a goat. Yeah. A goat. This is a goat big. If you have something that's really small and no big deal, doing this actually helps you think that it's not a big deal. I'm making a little kind of dismissive gesture with my hand. This also works with emphasizing points you want people to remember. If you have 3 ideas, tell someone you have 3 ideas. It is very hard to lie with our gestures. For example, you want to do a little experiment with me?
Sure.
Okay, I want you to say 5, but hold up the number 3.
Okay, so we saw this one in the intro. So say 5, but hold up the number 3. 5. I mean, maybe I'm not the best for this because I have a lot of dexterity in my fingers, but you try to do it. See how easy it is. Say 5, 5, 5, 5, 3, 3, 3, 3, 5, 3. So yeah. There you go. There you go. He got it. Amazing. Amazing. How easy is it for you guys?
Our gestures. For example, you want to do a little experiment with me?
Sure.
Okay, I want you to say 5, but hold up the number 3.
5.
Hard, right?
Yeah.
So it's really hard for our brain.
Easy work, bro.
Yeah, it's
easy
really
work.
hard. Our brain is not meant to lie with gesture, which is why humans pay so close attention to gestures, because we're looking to see, are they congruent? It is so hard to be incongruent with the gestures. Liars typically use less gestures. So we're also drawn to people who are using gestures, who are congruent with their gestures, because it makes us feel like, oh, they know their stuff and they're being honest.
So it made me reflect. How do we establish causation here in terms of these hand gestures? Could it be the case that more confident TED speakers are doing more gestures because they're less nervous? So is it about nerves?
Now I feel like he's been doing more hand gestures since the beginning. And so now I'm questioning, like, are you in the fake it till you make it part where you're purposely doing that? Because I wasn't specifically paying attention to it. but I am noticing it. So I don't know.
Doing more gestures because they're less nervous. So is it about nerves? And the less confident, more nervous TED speakers are doing less gestures just because
White nerves matter.
they're self-soothing a lot and they're kind of closing off their body. Is confidence the thing here? Is it nerves?
I don't think so. I think it's about
She said, I don't think so. It said, we were at a kids event recently where you had to read a color, but the color was different than the word. Apparently, the left brain can read it, but the right brain relies on the actual color. Yeah, that is, I've done that before. That one's difficult. That one's difficult. Again, I think the fact that I've spent a stupid amount of time making sure my fingers could do exactly what I want them to do. And like, I have you got the ball here. And you just keep the ball. And it goes around. And then you have it rolls across the screen. It goes the other way. You can switch your hands. Same thing. You go this way. Spent way too much time learning how to do that. Can I do a talk to 20 million people? Yeah. Sure. You got 20 million people who are willing to listen? Then sure. Yeah, the weird, right? Woo! You just you got to start with the finger roll. Put your fingers out like that, or you start like that, and you go from one side. You just put all your fingers out in order, and then from the same finger, you close them all. What is contact juggling? Is that different than regular juggling?
Off their body. It is
See, again, with him doing that, I feel like that was kind of
TED speakers are doing less gestures just because they're self-soothing a lot and
no, that one seemed normal. I don't know. Maybe I'm too in my head about it now.
They're kind of closing off their body. Is confidence the thing here? Is it nerves?
I don't think so. I think it's about engagement. So I think most TED speakers, and I watch these TED Talks, they're all good. All of them are good. And some of them are experts in their fields. The difference is, do I want to watch their good? It is hard for me as a viewer to pay attention for 18 minutes with someone who didn't use enough gestures. It was like physically hard for my brain to pay attention.
Do something! Do something! I'm going to try to do the rest of the stream without any of these, without any gestures. I'm going to try to hold on. I mean, this doesn't count. I can do that. That's not a gesture. I'm going to try not to gesture for anything. Contact juggling is the same movements, but making a like that thing that was like, oh come on, what was it called? The orb. Orb. Oh, not Rob. Orb. Why can't I spell? This stuff. So what are you talking about? I just 9 years ago, Tricolor Panda. Oh, Gummy. We definitely got to do Gummy. Oh, I was like, why is the music still playing if the video's over? Durr. So actually, I should have kept it on. Perfect. This was what I was listening to. It's the same finger stuff. It's a 10-year-old video or 9-year-old video. It's not going to be the best quality. 480 is as high as it goes. Wait. It's just off. There we go. There we go. Yeah, Daft Punk, they're definitely in the same realm. Shout out to Ninja. getting into the. And so, Matt, you can see there's a person here. This is a face. All that light is reflecting on their face. I was just gonna say, if you're tripping on something, anything. Oh no! Oh no! They're saying we've detected a video on your stream belonging to someone else. All right, so we'll just stay here for a minute until that goes away, and we'll go back and they're definitely gonna copyright claim this, but it couldn't have been. It couldn't have been that music. There's no way it was that music. I'm just waiting for the thing to go away. Fuck it. Fuck it. All right, there we go. There we go. It's gone. It's gone. We are back. I don't know how long it's going to last, but we're already past the 3-hour mark, so we'll take it as far as we can go. Before we get to that, Dixon said one time on acid, my friend was tossing a glow stick in the dark, a glow in the dark frisbee up in the air. That's dope. Another thing. Ooh, maybe we can find that. Gloving lights on the fan. No. Damn it. But I have a video of when I was, I think we were tripping. I think we're doing shrooms. I believe if I'm not mistaken, we were doing shrooms. And instead of like doing the stuff, we taped a bunch of the lights from the gloves to the fan. And so some of them have like, like they flicker, some of them stay on, some of them, move through different colors. And then you turn on the fan and it makes these circles. And it's pretty cool. Shout out to Guam Tech. Thank you. Said human kaleidoscope request? What are you saying you want me to do? I don't have the gloves with the lights anymore. But I mean, I got you. And I could definitely pull up some dope videos for the after party. But thank you for the $2. Let's keep this party rated. I got a piss. That's not one.
For 18 minutes with someone who didn't use enough gestures. It was like physically hard for my brain to pay attention. I think those speakers, whether good or not, had over-rehearsed and rehearsed out their hand gestures, or were holding a podium, or were holding a clicker too hard. So I actually think that it's less to do with the speaker's nerves or confidence.
Clicker? I'll barely even know her.
Or we're holding a clicker too hard. So I actually think that it's less to do with the speaker's nerves or confidence, and it's more to do with, are they going to let themselves use their hands to explain their points, and that becomes more engaging.
One of the things I've noticed on this podcast is people who are using their hands are more expressive. And if they're more expressive, there's likely to be more sort of intonations in their voice. If there's more intonations, it's more...
That was weird. It was not playing for me.
Engaging. And if it's more engaging, then it's more retentive for the algorithm. And if it's more retentive...
It's off now, right?
For the algorithm, it's suggested more. If it's suggested more, there's more views.
Yes.
So I would like to tell my guests, all the past and particularly future guests, that if you have more expression in what you're saying and more intonations in your voice, then our show will grow.
Okay. Let's talk about two things here. One is we did a test on my YouTube channel and found that if we used a thumbnail of me doing any hand gesture, it didn't even matter what it was. It could be this, it could be this, any hand gesture, that got more clicks. People even...
Wait. What did she just say? Did she just give me some free game?
A test on my YouTube channel and found that if we used a thumbnail of me doing any hand gesture, it didn't even matter what it was. It could be this, it could be this, any hand gesture, that got more clicks.
God damn it. I was going to put, so I have, where is it? Let me get rid of this. This is the thumbnail. And I was going to, like, right under the label on the left side of the frame, I was going to put in me being like, ugh, to, like, what's going on over there? Or I guess for like me, it would be way over here, like, with this, just on top of that. I was planning on doing that, and I was like, it looks kind of busy. This looks clean. Let me use that. I wonder I wonder. I know. I see you there. I see you there. Come here, folks. I wonder. What did she give a number?
Doing any hand gesture. It didn't even matter what it was. It could be this, it could be this, it could be any hand gesture, that got more clicks. People, even in the thumbnail, like to see the hand gesture even more than my crazy facial expressions. We tried both. So yes, we are, because
I guess I gotta make new pictures for thumbnails. Shout out to Trey Williams. Welcome to the party. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. How you been? How you been? We are checking out this body language expert.
Like to see the hand gesture even more than my crazy facial expressions. We tried both. So yes, we are, because if you see a thumbnail of me, holding up 2, you're like, well, what 2 things is she talking about? What is it? So it's we like it. It shows competence. And the second thing is that vocal variety is an incredibly important aspect of charisma.
I think that's too inside. People are like, what is this dog? Like, what? A dog? Yeah, I think that's a little too inside, but good idea.
We're talking about gestures, but there is a feedback loop here. The more, like, if I were going to sit on my hands for this interview, you would notice my facial expression would get less charismatic, my vocal tone would be less charismatic. It's really hard to be charismatic without movement. Vocal variety is a critical aspect of both warmth and competence. That is because when we hear someone who's able to, for example, give us the TED Talk voice. So I'm gonna give you the TED Talk voice. You ready? This point is going to change the way that we think about the world. And if we don't analyze this point, we will be in huge trouble. Like, that is a voice that is telling you, ooh, this is important.
There's that is, I don't know, I don't want to say similar, but a similar aspect of like the TikTok voice. They like, if you, let's say you're talking about a story. Let's say I'm doing a TikTok and my TikTok page is reporting on things like drama or big news or whatever it is. The TikTok voice is basically Obama voice. Oh, man. Not mad at that. But the TikTok voice is today Lutch was on YouTube and he was streaming for almost 3.5 hours. He was I don't even know what I'm saying, but it's like it's not worth it. Okay, if I can find it real quick. No.
You also hear that really good speakers will use.
All right. But there's a thing there. That was a total miss by me. Where we at? Yeah. Well, listen, folks. This is very important. Okay. We know that we're gonna have to do some things, and it might not be easy. Okay, but together. So I don't know, because that tone is coming from a woman. I don't take it as seriously.
Like, that is a voice that is telling you, ooh, this is important. You also hear that really good speakers will use like a numbers voice. So a numbers voice sounds like this. Did you know that 43% of humans all believe in the same thing? 43%. Like, and then if you're telling a story, it changes again. So a story tone would go like this. You're never going to believe what happened to me. So last week, I'm walking down the street and I saw this guy. It's a totally different vocal variety. That is a gift to your listener. That makes you more engaging because they're able to clock. Oh, we're doing a number now. Oh.
Well, and I think she would say this is the same thing. But this is a similar, like I've talked about when people read, when they're streaming and they'll read something and they'll be talking like this. And we're just gonna have something to read. News. Just give me news. Okay. So like they'll have this, right? And they won't even make it big enough for you to see. But we'll be talking. And we're like, okay, so I read this article in The Independent. Trump demands government shutdown after Elon Musk stop that deal. President like Donald Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance have demanded Republicans in the House and Senate effectively force federal government to shut down rather than pass a stopgap funding bill that would have kept agencies running at current funding levels at the end of March 2025. Like, what? Did any of you follow that? Versus Number one, zooming in so that you guys can actually see President-elect Donald Trump and Vice President-elect J.D. Vance have demanded that Republicans in the House and Senate effectively force the federal government to shut down rather than pass a stopgap funding bill that would have kept agencies running at current funding levels through the end of March 2025. Why is there this at the bottom? Why didn't that? Okay, weird. I don't care. Everyone talk in monotone. Works fine if you have something important to say. That's how I'm going to talk. I'm not going to put any tone in my voice. I'm just going to talk exactly like this.
We have a story now. Oh, this is an important point. I better write it down. Really good TED speakers are outlining their talk for you in many different ways. And that's the best speakers I see on stage.
It's so interesting because in this podcast, we had quite a long conversation a couple of months ago about arms on the chair that you're in now. And it was just this observation we had when we first flew out here to New York. The chairs that we ordered were pretty similar to this, but they just happened to have arms on them.
Uh-huh.
And what I noticed was that guests would lean and it would take out their arms.
Yes.
So it took out their arms and they became less expressive and the conversations were less interesting.
Yes.
So we removed the arms again.
Okay, so let's talk about this just very briefly.
Yeah.
I actually do recommend.
I was excited. I feel like Hassan does the quick read both to make him seem smart, but also to make sure nobody actually relies on the information. Just his interpretation of it. Manipulative. That is manipulative.
So we removed the arms again.
Okay, so let's talk about this just very briefly.
Yeah.
I actually do recommend chairs with arms, not in this setup, because look at the difference. So actually, right before this interview, you asked me to scoot my chair in, right? Your amazing team asked me to scoot my chair in. Thank you for that, because it makes it so that I want to put my hands up. If I were to be sitting farther back, I'm just going to lean back for a second, I would be tempted to put my hands in my lap.
Yes.
So the critical piece of this is you're having me scoot up to the table. It would be really hard if I had arms, because then I would want to go like this.
It'd be really hard if she had arms, guys. She means arms of the chair, but you know.
Having me scoot up to the table. It would be really hard if I had arms, because then I would want to go like this and it would make me look like a duck.
Yes.
Right. So you want to use a chair with arms to be broader. It actually does broaden your arms out, unless you're really close to the table and you can put your hands on the table. But it's amazing how the physical environment can change how we are perceived and how we move.
But even we're very intentional about the sort of mirroring of our body language and just making sure that we're head on, because this conversation is entirely.
Guys, hit that poll. We got 9 people here. Only 4 people have voted. And if you're not a member, you're probably not going to, you got to band together, because I know the members want the after party.
About the sort of mirroring of our body language and just making sure that we're head on, because this conversation is entirely different if we're side on.
Very much.
It's not going to be the same.
Very much.
And there's not going to be the same level of intimacy.
Yes.
We also thought a lot about how big the table was. This is quite a big table.
What's the distance?
One more brings us 50-50.
I'm going to say it's about just shy of 2 meters.
Wait, can you hold your arm out?
Shout out to B. Hey, thank you so very, very much for coming through. Very much appreciate you. Good luck at your new job. Dilly to your new job. Congratulations. Nick said, just like the science teacher in the Wonder Years, he was about as monotone as possible. Wonder Years professor. I can't. Was it Ben, what's his face? Bueller. I don't remember. You're leaving too? Jesus fuck. Where are you going? You can fucking sit up for 8 hours in the after party. You gonna dip out here, motherfucker? Come on. No, I know Fred Savage. You said the professor. Bueller.
Big table.
What's the distance?
I'm going to say it's about just shy of 2 meters.
Wait, can you hold your arm out? Okay, so this is perfect distance. The perfect distance between 2 people having a good conversation is that we could shake hands if we wanted to.
Okay.
And that is because there are 4 different proxemic zones. So the fancy word for space is proxemics. I don't know if you have that beautiful graphic.
I printed out this.
Yes, that's it. Yes. So there are 4 different space zones. And these are really good to know if you're.
Okay, so that's actually a good spot to stop at the 52-minute mark. So we've only gotten maybe about a third of the way through this. So if you guys are enjoying, let's put up a poll while I'm talking. Would you like a part 2? Would you like a part 2 to continuing covering this? Like I said, she get the thing about using hand gestures that goes further. She has a thing about how you can tilt your head and stuff like that. And there's just more straight up advice type stuff. So let me know. Would you like to continue? There's definitely there's definitely other stuff, but also keep in mind that we're in that lame duck period of politics where everybody is just talking about the big stuff, and there's not much to say other than like, oh, that happened. So I personally like this, and it seems like you guys do too. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, so we will come back to this. What's tomorrow? Tomorrow it is no, I got work tomorrow. So we'll come back to this Friday. Unless I find something better, and then we can we'll cover that and then come back to this either over the weekend or on Monday. So we will see. Guys, I gotta give you a huge thank you. We did not hit our swole stream goal, but that's all right. That is all right. We'll come back with the We'll come back with the 15 push-ups. We gotta build it up, guys. We gotta build it up. I gotta give you some kind of incentive. All right, some kind of incentive. So we'll be back at 10 push-ups, but as we build up and as we stick with the swole goals, then we absolutely will be doing more push-ups, squats. We could do whatever you like. We gotta pay ourselves. We gotta get swole. Swole is the goal. Guys, I really appreciate you hanging out, having a good time. And I really enjoyed this particular conversation. I enjoyed being able to step outside of the direct political realm. I forgot how much there is to talk about outside of, well, this person said this thing and he brought, like, I get it, it's important, but it's like, I don't know. We need those goals. Dixon said maybe one day we'll be ready for the Bring Sally Up push-up challenge. Maybe. I don't even know what that is. So maybe, but no promises. No, I am not happy you're taking a break. I will. That is why I need you guys, because I'm not going to do it on my own, but I want to be held accountable. So it's just a fun part of the stream, and obviously, we gotta do what we gotta do. And either way, you guys always come through for me. So thank you so very much. The after party starts now. Head on over, and I will see you there. Exactly. Once again, guys, this is Morty, and I have been your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys. I'm showing my palm. Wait, I gotta do it this one because I can do that. I do the palm here. I do show my palm. Here. Peace.